What's up, everybody at On the Edge, my audience here. I am coming today. Actually, I didn't plan on streaming today, but I am going to stream in light of recent events. I'm just going to get right to it. Real quick, I owe an apology for using Grok during my recent last debate. I will say that right now, relying on AI to shape arguments that I've had was a misstep that undermined the authenticity, integrity of the discussions that I do have in debates. Mind you, a lot of people do tend to rely on Grok sometimes. They tend to rely on AI sometimes. They do tend to rely on Google search sometimes. This happens. Like my dear friend said recently, sometimes people went to use the Encyclopedia Britannica to pull up things and then read them verbatim. However, what I did was read things verbatim as responses from Grok. I mean, heck, this was also played on my screen as well, too. I was open on my end showing this. And I mean, therein lies the fault. I could go into why I use this, but that's neither here nor there. I'm actually being open about this. And yeah, I'm admitting that this was a misstep, which wasn't fair to you in the exchange of spirit when it comes to like the debate. So moving forward, I mean, I will rely on searching things through Google. I will search through things through Grok, but reading things verbatim, I can see how that looks. That's an optics nightmare for anybody. And this experience, I mean, is definitely, it's definitely taught me a valuable lesson. For one, Grok is extremely liberal. Not only are there extremely liberal responses, it's definitely not Republican by any means. I mean, I've used it in several cases in the past, and that's the thing. It's important for me to the importance of trusting my own logic and also the understanding, even when it does feel challenging sometimes. I've done debates without any of this stuff. Let's get this straight. I don't mind doing face-to-face stuffs, which I will definitely move towards when doing debate. I recently did a debate on Jubilee where it was one-on-one versus billionaire tycoon Brian Johnson. I do have a couple more one-on-one in-face debates soon. So dare I can carry Grok with me, ChatGPT, or any? I can't do that. So that is why I plan on moving towards more of those debates. I love in-person debates, and those debates I do fare really well at. So, I mean, I don't need to depend on artificial technology, but using Grok in this way diluted my ability to engage in fully and grown through debate processes to some degree. I can even say that, and I can even admit that that day, I had no excuses, although there were reasons why I took the route that I did. But I'm also not going to go into that as well, too. I am going to be 100% transparent about the fact that there is no justifiable reason why I'm going to use this as a crutch. Moving forward, I don't mind doing debates on anybody else's channel. Matter of fact, this is what I plan on doing. I plan to curate this channel into a debate format and also bring you news as far as like political awareness, social news, things like this. Obviously, there are some things that happen in the exchanges between me and people online that happen. You know, not everybody's going to like everybody, right? But there's also people that are going to be doing hit pieces. This we can't deny. We all know this is inevitable. It's going to happen, you know, but I'm not going to be engaged in shooting back at people, thus giving them more ammo, which what I did. Me using Grok during a debate gave people more ammo. And my rule is you don't give people more ammo. Why would my opposition, stop me from doing something which is hanging myself and they can use to weaponize against me? Moving forward, I don't want to give my opposition any more ammo. I prefer to defeat them in debates, square up. I don't mind doing that. But I mean, obviously showing it on my screen, me being on Grok on my end, which is what shows people that I was using this during debate, it's like that can be weaponized against me. So right now I'm looking at the mechanics of this and also the optics of this. Moving forward, I just want to tie this end up real quick. And not only that, but I'm committed to relying on my own reasoning and logic. Let's get this straight. As I usually do, I've done this in the past. I've always done this. This is something that I don't shy away from. When it comes to somebody having an argument, me finding faults in their logic, I love doing this. I love puzzle pieces. Otherwise, why would I have gone to mechanic school? You know, why would I have gone to diesel mechanic school at that? One of the most comprehensive, difficult schools to go to when it comes to taking apart an engine and putting back together. You rely on solely logic, which I have to when it comes to debates. So in these discussions, I do plan on ensuring that our discussions remain genuine, respectful, and intellectually honest, which is what I want to do moving forward. I don't mind doing that. I do thank everybody for their understanding, and I look forward to engaging with you authentically in the future. This apology is heartfelt. You know, I just want everybody to know that, hey, I will not give my opponents any more ammo moving forward, because that's all I've given them, really, when it came to this little debacle of me using Grok during a debate is, you know, obviously going to be used as a hit piece against me tomorrow. But that's neither here nor there. I implore anybody, if you got it, use it against me. It's all fair game. I don't really care, man. I got pretty thick skin, and I don't mind doing a square up debate. I'll do IRL debates, in-person debates, things like this. I don't shy away from stuff like that, man. And I will constantly seek the tougher road when it comes to this. I don't honestly mind that. I came from a really tough upbringing. In regards to previous conversations, like me cheating to turn pro, I didn't even use steroids when it came to turning pro. I was actually, I'm actually against it. Actually, I have an autoimmune disorder. It's not Crohn's, but it's ulcerative colitis. And if you have ulcerative colitis and use steroids, this actually exacerbates the issue. I almost died the first time that I competed as a pro. I was bleeding out. My intestines were halfway hanging out. That's a pretty gruesome story. But this is why I don't like using steroids. When I did, even when I was a pro, I don't like touching it because I have bad reactions. So needless to say, when I was competing as a pro, I was forced to compete as naturally as possible. I even turned pro naturally in 2013 at Nationals. So when it comes to being square up and straightforward, choosing the hard path, that's what I did. I had pneumonia, coughing. I actually have a video of this the night that I turned pro. And I don't mind revealing all this. I was not supposed to turn pro. I actually shouldn't be here speaking about any of this stuff. So when it comes time to doing the hard stuff, I hear a conversation like, oh, it's because you use steroids. It's another, and they use these references all the time. Even if you have a boatload of steroids, you still can't turn pro. It's tough. You have to win the genetic lottery, and you have to kill yourself and bust your ass to even win one of these beloved pro cards here. This isn't, I don't know if any of you guys know what this is. It's an IFBB pro card. These are rare to get. It's very hard to get. And not to mention that, but having I would say an autoimmune disorder, it's extremely hard to even function when it comes to dieting. I bled a lot, man. The whole time I was training, I was squatting and buckets of blood were coming out, all this stuff. It's just pretty nasty. But anyways, this is another thing that I got. It's the Super League Pro card. There's only probably a few of these on the planet, stuff like that. But yes, click the gay away. Hit the like button for sure, man. This is always good, man. Please hit the like button. It's always good. I appreciate the support. Also, I will be holding a membership drive pretty soon, which is always good. Hopefully, I have a good subscriber amount that happens the remainder of this month, and also a membership drive as well too. No, Grok did not cook. AB, I'll put this on the screen. Grok fucking sucks. Actually, Grok is very liberal. When I did use Grok, it gave me half of it was like liberal responses that I couldn't even use in debates. This is bad. I don't use ChatGPT, never have. But when it came to Grok, I have used that, obviously, of course. But when you do use this, try to look up why feminism is bad, and it's going to give you the most liberal response supporting feminism. It's weird. Test this out. So if you're using a debate to be against drugs, or anything else in the debate saying why, single parent households are bad, it's going to give you kind of like a liberal leaning response half of the time, which is weird. Yeah, don't use Grok in the future. That was an L on my part, especially during debates. It's really horrible. But back to this, drugs bad. Drugs are definitely bad. So when people accuse me of using steroids and things like this during my pro career, No, it actually exacerbated my autoimmune disorder even worse. I almost died the moment I competed at the Europa as a pro on stage. I went backstage and didn't even show up for the night show where I might have placed top 5. I don't know. That's neither here nor there. There were people from the Ukraine and Czechoslovakia that I was competing against in Russia, all this other stuff that showed up. Canadians showed up, and me and a few people from the United States showed up to compete. The problem with this is I showed up and we went our halftime in pro bodybuilding. I went out with my coach to go drink some diet soda because to get some fluids in my body because we dehydrate a little bit. And needless to say, I told him I'm not feeling good. And I said, I think I need to go to the hospital. I just inherently knew this somehow. Went to the hospital. I didn't even know this, but I sat in the hospital bed and my intestines were hanging down to my legs. It was like dried and flat like a tapeworm. And I was like, oh shit, because I raised my leg up and there's all kinds of blood. Anyways, I'm not going to go into it. I almost died. I almost died the first time I turned pro because I decided to take, because I was a pro 3 years into this. I took a long off season, decided to use steroids for the first time because everybody else was using this. And guess what happened? I almost fucking died. It's not good, man. If you guys ever have an autoimmune disorder, listen to your doctors. Matter of fact, try to take as little medication as possible. Crohn's is bad. Ulcerative colitis, also bad too. I almost, I could have kicked the bucket the night I turned pro too. If you could do any sport, don't compete in bodybuilding unless you want to work the hardest you have in your whole life to obtain this little card. You know, it's like, what would this piece of card be worth in real life if it wasn't the IFBB Pro behind it? What, $1 at Office Max? So to me, I think it's just crazy. Here we go. You're gonna remove all the Jim Waitley stuff here, right? Delete it. No, I'm not gonna take it off because I think gym stuff and actually lifting and being healthy is good. It's advantageous for society as well too. My relentless Iron Fist, ironclad mod here just got home from the hospital today. God bless his soul. Was in there for a month and a half. Praise God. Yes, praise God indeed. Yes, antibiotics can kill you. Yeah. AB says, Marte, I tried to do the natty bodybuilding when I dropped below what me and my coach assumed was 8% body fat. I couldn't sleep more than 4 hours. It was brutal. Never again. Yes. I did this. I turned pro naturally. I just took diuretics. And yeah, it is hard to sleep. My body fat actually got less than 8%. I had the fat. You're supposed to have fat cushioning your feet underneath your soles. That was eviscerated. That was gone. I didn't even have enough fat cushioning my organs. You're supposed to have fat cushioning your organs. And the night I turned pro, it was like, yeah, of course I couldn't sleep. Well, of course, obviously it was like nationals during that time. I had won the Mr. Arizona, won my state, and all 50 states are sending their best nationals to turn pro against you. I beat everybody's asses and then turned pro that night. It's bad stuff. Knight and Bishop says, because it hurts your brain. Off topic from what are you trying to do? I clicked around and saw the gym stuff. Yeah, there is gym stuff. I'm going to, I don't know. The reason why I gravitated away from health and fitness stuff is because I'm getting into debates more. I'm getting into debates, and to me, I don't think gym stuff is really going to quite cut it when it comes to moving culture. Gym stuff is kind of played out. I can do gym content all day long, but it's a dime a dozen out there. There are 50 million fitness shows out there, but I'm going to not only fitness shows, but bodybuilding channels out there. They're literally doing the same things. I used to do interviews as a pro bodybuilder, interviewing for channels like RX Muscle, Muscular Development Magazine. I was even on ESPN too, all this stuff. And he ended up talking about the same shit, dieting, steroids, lifting. It's like, how repetitive can the circle get? But when it comes to debating all this stuff, it's all good, man. Yes, glory to God for Relentless for getting out of the hospital. It's just bad stuff. Wookmoto says, antibiotics, bleeding ulcers, almost bled out. That was fun. Yeah, bleeding out was not fun, for sure. AB said, that was crazy. I heard pros like Kevin Lavroni said for the 1992 Mr. Olympia, he said he will never try to get that ripped again. I guess for everyone, there's a level body won't allow. Yes, it's crazy. I have photos that I can show the night that I turned pro, right before I turned pro, and I had pneumonia. Not only did I have pneumonia, but it was a very fluke, lucky incident when my ulcerative colitis wasn't acting up and I wasn't bleeding. Before I turned pro in my first show, 3 years later, because I had to take a long off season to put on more muscle, more size, and I'm doing it naturally without any drugs or anything. I had to eat a shit ton of food. My food bill was probably like $2,500 a month, right? So eating this much food is just insane with an autoimmune disorder. So I aggravated it with the diet also. That didn't help. So I was force feeding myself. I was eating so much that I don't know, it, like my throat probably closed up a few times when I was trying to eat. It's insane. Nobody ever understands how much it takes to even compete in pro bodybuilding or even to win a local bodybuilding show. But the night before I did my first pro show, I think I looked fucking phenomenal, but it was just backstage. Then everything just exploded and I almost died. It was pretty bad, man. I'm not going to tell you the condition I was in, but it was pretty bad. My pancreas had shut off. All systems were slowly starting to collapse. My kidneys were working against me. My pancreas had shut down. I was bleeding out. My intestines were hanging out. It was really bad. I was laying in the hospital bed, and a really bad scenario back then. I was wondering, because at the time I didn't have medical insurance. I was cooked. Big ass medical bill leaving. Thank God. Glory to God, I'm still here. And I chose not to touch those steroids again. It's crazy. Yeah, just really bad stuff, man. The amount of food I have to eat to compete as a pro is insane. But back to this, the main topic I'm going to go into, I'm going to revisit it one last time because I wanted to do this and rip the Band-Aid off real quick. Just saying I owe an apology because obviously I was on Grok using this and reading responses verbatim during a debate. In this in real time on, and matter of fact, I talked to Grid, and Grid's given me some permission to say that I did speak to him, and it's kind of since smoothed over. We're gonna let bygones be bygones, and competing in this, it's obviously good to be good faith, right? We're using the honor system here. Of course, I don't care if somebody I'm just gonna be honest with you. I don't mind if somebody uses Chat GPT or Grok against me in a debate. Actually, I think it makes it more competitive. I don't give a shit, man. To be honest, I did win those debates, but when it came time for me to look into this and people said, hey, you're doing this or whatever, why give people more ammunition? That's what this whole topic's about. I gave my opponents more ammunition to say, hey, he was using this during the debate. All right, cool, whatever. I'm just saying, if this is bad and frowned upon, which I would even agree with you, yeah, if you don't like it, I don't have to use it. But I will say this to anybody that I'm competing against in debate or in the realm of debate, I'm not going to tell you not to use ChatGPT. I'm not going to tell you not to use Grok against me, because I mean, shit, I've competed against people in Grok before. There was a black debate with a guy and his sister. There was a black, when I say black debates, it's like black on black crime. I'm debating another black person. I've had Grok used against me and ChatGPT, and I was like, and I even literally said this online during a debate. I said, yeah, I don't care. Go use it. I don't care. It's your argument versus mine anyways, and when it comes time for the first Amender debate, I don't care. He can use ChatGPT, Grok, or anything else and cheat. I'm not going to call it cheating if I could beat his argument, because reality, you're talking about biological constructs. I mean, let's look at the fact of the matter. I mean, I could just say simple things, right? Let's say that I say Speakeasy was asleep with a transformer person. Does that make him heterosexual still? Because that, according to you, is a woman? I don't need ChatGPT for these kind of comebacks and questions and things like that. Obviously, that's going to rock the boat. I don't want to give away the whole game today as far as like, the structure and argumentation that I'm going to use against First Amender. But I don't need any stuff. So if my opposition uses that against me, I honestly don't even care, because at this point also, I can't use the argument that it's unfair if I used it in the past, whatever, right? But to me, I just think, hey, it's all fair in love and war. If you want to use that against me, I don't care. I've fought people in the past in debates that have used I would say AI, things like ChatGPT, other things like this. I've debated those people in the past and I've implored them, hey, use it. Whatever, I don't care. I've competed as a pro against people who use steroids when I wasn't using steroids. I beat people's asses in the amateur ranks when I wasn't doing anything. And I turned pro, not doing anything against people that were on boatloads of steroids and shit, because I couldn't. I have ulcerative colitis. It just aggravates my autoimmune disorders even worse. So I will say this. I'll make a declaration to any opposition in debates in the future. You're implored to use that against me. And I'm not even going to say it's cheating, because it's my worldview that I think is superior. If you're going to think that transformer women are really women, good luck to you. You can use all the AI you want to. I have a biological not even just a construct, but biological reality on my end, and even social constructs that overwhelmingly conservatively beat your constructs. So it's like, if you think about this, at the end of the day, we have a big plummeting birth rate problem, and I don't think Transformers add to this at all. My argument is going to be, actually, I'm not even going to go into that right now, because once again, I don't want to give the game away. People can look at me right now and say, well, he's using ChatGPT because he's talking so fast. Well, because I'm a great orator, I don't mind this. Going back to this, it's like everybody's full of fault. Everybody's full of sin. I fuck up. You're a fuck up. Everybody is a fuck up. I'm owning up to whatever it is that people want me to own up to. But most of all, I'm being transparent to also my viewers and everybody else out there. So I would say at the end of the day, the truth is always going to be your best shield. I don't care who you are, what it is. There's going to be hit tech. I guarantee you, it's not going to be the only hit tech used against me when it comes to things. There's going to be hit pieces used against me and everybody else that's on my side of the spectrum, my side of the aisle, who aren't centrist and aren't liberals. Yeah, it's like you're going to get hit pieces turned towards you. Even if I make a misstep, they're going to capitalize on this, and I'm literally handing away weaponizing this for them. They're going to weaponize this against me regardless, and it's going to happen. I mean, trust, if it wasn't this, it would have been something else. Let's be honest, I, of course, am not making excuses. I'm owning up to this, saying, hey, this is whatever. If you want to say it's fucked up, I'll even agree with you. That's why I'm also saying that if anybody else that I'm debating against uses this, I actually don't even care. I've debated people that use this. I've competed against people that use steroids against me in the past. Not to sound like a revolving circle here, but you get the whole picture. I actually don't even care. I think when it came time to apologize, I apologized to the parties involved directly during that debate. But other than that, that's about it. I spoke to other people. Bygones be bygones. That's it. To be honest, I really just want to move past this so I can move forward in debates. Whether or not people could say, well, you cheated, you did this and that. Yeah. Okay. I'll even concede and agree with you. Okay. Moving forward. Next debate. No artificial, whatever it is, no help, nothing. Okay. Let's do it. I don't really care, man. Let's do it. I don't do this for the love of the game, as I've heard people say in debates. I do this because I have a Christian ethic when it comes to things. That's why I'm also coming on here and being transparent as well too with this. I can't come here and just dodge and be like, oh, well, I'm allowed to use. No, if they think it's unfair, who am I to tell them that they're wrong because they think it's unfair? I will not, though, be like, hey, it's unfair that you're using that. No, I'm not even going to take that, even that stance. Not only am I benevolent and extremely charitable when it comes to this, but I do believe that a lot of my arguments are more superior when it comes to the end of the day. There's no way that you're going to tell me that a liberal system is more comparable and better and more optimal than a conservative system that we set. Right now, we just had a debate with Greg Adams and Andrew Wilson, and Greg Adams didn't do anything to defend the black community, degenerate community, overwhelmingly, right? Because of his arguments, that emboldens me to become a better debater, because we don't have anybody speaking out on these issues. We have blacks like Coach Greg Adams, Coach Greg L, folding. They're folding in real time, letting down the black community and not representing and saying, hey, this is something we can work out. I can get prescriptions. I can say, hey, you guys can go to the Orthodox church or go to a church and get married and have a lasting relationship and a lasting marriage. You can't do this in a secular relationship. Nobody's telling the black community this. You have Baptist churches. You have people like, Creflo Dollar, all this other stuff, baptizing people on one side and then selling coffee in the same oratorium that they're basically having baptisms at. It's like the money changers are happening right now in real time. So to me, it's just insane. Matter of fact, it's Wi-Fi. Hey, is it Wi-Fi Gospel? Pleased to meet you. I think it's Wi-Fi Gospel, maybe. I do believe that you have a debate coming up, right? I think it's matter of fact. Hold on. Let me do this real quick. You're welcome to come up if you want to talk about this a little. I don't know if you're at liberty to kind of speak about this a little bit, but I'm going to bring up the Coach Greg Adams debate a little bit. Oh, no, I'm regular Wi-Fi. Damn, because I noticed one thing. I noticed that There was Wi-Fi Gospel started following me. I didn't know if so. You're regular Wi-Fi. You're not just Wi-Fi. All right. There's a bunch of Wi-Fi's out there apparently. But anyways, if anybody is at liberty to come up and ask me questions about this debacle, I'm just trying to get this behind me. And also have complete transparency when it comes to this whole Grok debacle. I don't mind this at all. Let's bring it up. There was a Wi-Fi, not a Wi-Fi debate, but this whole Andrew Wilson debate thing that happened recently, which is pretty crazy. You know what? I can cover a little bit of this, which this was pretty crazy. Not only this, but I was in his chat, not only in his chat, but it's like, I was just saying that he offered no prescriptions at all. I think I don't even know if he deleted the debate or what. Let's go check this out real quick. According to him, I mean, this is the free agent lifestyle. Let's go. Oh, don't tell me he took down the debate. Come on, bro. Tell me you didn't take down the debate, man. I did look at this throughout my watch history, and it should be here somewhere. Let's see if I hit the Coach Greg Adams jackpot when it comes to look. Okay, here we go. This is a pretty crazy debate. I'm going to be honest with you. It's pretty wild, man. Yeah, this is not only just crazy, it's just insane, man. Let me bring this up real quick because this is good. This is not only good to not just cover, but it's just insane. Especially with this L that happened. Crazy. Let me go ahead and see if I could just at least bring this up on the screen a little bit. Okay, there it goes. Here we go. And bringing this to the stage, yours truly, Andrew Wilson, in this debate. All right. This is a crazy ride.
You can be common law married anyway inside of a state, and they can, get grounds for divorce on that anyway. Then we actually need to have some social pressures to prevent them.
All right, because I want to get right to it.
Andrew here versus Coach Greg Adams, aka the Free Agent Lifestyle. We're going to talk about today, is marriage worth it for men in the West? So let's get into some opening statements. Who wants to start off?
Yeah, man, marriage is a great institution.
Yeah, you're right. So Angel Berber, yes, he offered no prescriptions, and his audience is hard red pillars who don't really want anything to change. They're on the enjoy the decline train. Yes, completely. It's a wrap for him, especially when it comes to this. If you look into the chat of this podcast, I'm actually showing his podcast because it's not on the Crucible or anything. It's on his side. It's nothing but Crucible people just talking about how he offered no prescriptions and also no solutions. Wilkmoto, this guy is an idiot for sure. I agree with you wholeheartedly. He is. It doesn't really make any sense. It's just degeneracy plus. Let's get back to this.
It was an institution that built the community of America. Most of the better communities that have safety, good children, good schools are typically centered around marriage. However, marriage has not progressed to the point where men could be safe legally, and a lot of men have experienced tremendous damage, collateral damage as a result, and it has led to broken families, a lot of broken hearts, simply because the laws are not positioned to benefit both people in a divorce. Therefore, you have no-fault divorce. You have opportunities for women to use the courts against men. And as a result, men have seen 1, 2, and 3 generations of men getting harmed, their grandfathers, their fathers, their uncles, their brothers getting harmed by this. So Generation Z men are not positioning themselves for a positive marriage. So at this particular point, if someone asked me, would I recommend marriage for them, and they were in a certain position in life, they weren't established, I would say no.
Okay, that's something I would even say. If you're not ready for marriage, he's actually not making an argument against marriage. Actually, he's just saying if you're not ready for marriage, which I would tell anybody, even if they're Christian or Orthodox, if you're not ready for marriage, don't get ready for marriage, or don't even enter a marriage. If you don't have a job and you can't support a wife or do any of this other stuff, you have to be a protector and a leader for a marriage. He's not making an argument against marriage this whole time. This is not what I'm hearing. There's no argument at all.
There's no benefit for the person to get married today.
Got it.
Then he says there's no benefit, right? But he contradicts himself. He says that marriage is a great institution. It was also great and it upholds the structure and all this. And then he said marriage offers no benefit. So, okay, it's a great institution, but it offers no benefit. It's insane. It's crazy.
Your response, Andrew?
Yeah, I didn't hear any anti-marriage arguments. I heard anti-divorce arguments. So
Right, exactly.
I'm with you on divorce, 100%.
Stream over.
And
I guess we agree.
But it's a good thing that the topic isn't on divorce, it's on marriage. And it seems like you agree with my proposition then. And the proposition is that marriage, quote, is a great institution.
Yep.
And that right now your concern is that men can't be safe in marriage, but that's not actually what you're saying. You're not saying men can't be safe in marriage. They can. You're saying that they may not be safe in divorce. So I have a counter proposition for you. My counter proposition is, what if it's the case that you can use religious marriage institutions without the state? And then we add the ecclesiastical structure of the marriage. That's what always kept them together anyway, before the state was ever involved. So what if instead we use the ecclesiastical church, the structure of the old churches, that would be Catholicism and Orthodoxy, where you see the lowest divorce rates, because the community puts pressure on the women to act right. That's what they do. Right now, the state applies no pressure on women to act right, right? You can just go and file whatever you want, get a divorce, and go be banging the neighbor by the next night. We totally agree on that. But to say that we should abandon marriage is silly. It seems like you're completely pro-marriage. You're just anti-divorce. So why wouldn't you just throw your weight behind institutions where the divorce rate is the least, and you have an ecclesiastical structure which can be appealed to assist with that? That's what makes no sense to me.
My response to that is, if we're fifths, we beat all drunk. All right. So that's a scenario that just isn't present.
Can you explain the analogy for me?
Well, if we use if, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. If we say if we have a situation where this is present, then this would work. Well, that makes sense. If we had that,
we
it
do
would
have
work.
it right now.
Well, it doesn't necessarily work because, and I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
Because
And he didn't even address this at all. He's just saying if, as if it doesn't exist at all. Later on, let me go ahead and give you guys a cheat sheet. This guy goes over into Orthodox marriage doesn't exist, and then Catholic marriage doesn't exist. He just makes up all these claims. It just doesn't even make sense when we could see this in Orthodox churches, actually. So he makes an argument as to why people shouldn't be Christians, which also isn't a clear argument as to why people shouldn't be Christians. It just doesn't make sense. And he also refers to sky daddies and all this. Obviously, this is definitely a feminist position, because these are what feminists utter as well too.
a woman can go to a divorce attorney and they can simply just say, hey, listen, it was a off the cuff, off the state divorce, but you got married within a certain state, or she filed in a certain state, so therefore the divorce goes on.
No,
Absolutely,
okay.
yes.
Well,
Listen, I've been with the divorce attorneys, and what they'll tell you is, hey, listen, you can get married in the ritual, you can get married in the orthodoxy, you can get married off record, but if she files and that woman is hell-bent on saying, we got married, I don't care if it was a ceremony where we walked on coals with our feet bare, that's considered a marriage. You also have common law. You have a lot of other ways for that woman to establish marriage.
How does your way eliminate common law?
I don't have any way to eliminate common law.
So
what
then-
I have is a way for men to avoid
Well, then the
being
argument's
used
silly.
no, the argument's not silly. So here's what you have. You have
Okay.
a if proposition, which doesn't exist for most men. Most men aren't religious. Most men aren't looking to be under a religious orthodoxy. So it doesn't apply. So you're taking a moral standard or a religious standard to apply to people who aren't under that veil.
So let's start with a couple of things you said which are fundamentally untrue. Most men are religious, in fact, including in this country. Most of them, not some of them.
But they're not religious.
Hang on. I didn't
Hold on for a
interrupt. I
second.
didn't
Right.
interrupt.
I
didn't
understand,
interrupt.
but maybe just take that point. Most aren't under your religion.
Okay.
We can agree with that.
So here's the thing, though. But
He says this, but orthodoxy is actually massive in Eastern countries and states, things like this. And also, it's one of the fastest growing forms of Christianity in the West, because men are finding patriarchal structures in Christianity and also finding out that they can conform to this lifestyle because they understand that this is the best solution for having structure in a marriage and a nuclear family as well. I'll just leave you with that.
Catholicism and Orthodoxy is growing rapidly. And if it's the case that the ecclesiastical structure is already there, which it is, right? If you're going to cohabitate with a
Damn, he said the same thing, but I mean, I've watched this before, but just saying.
woman, the thing that you're offering right now is common law marriage anyway, if there's cohabitation at all. You're not protecting anybody from that. At least under my model, it gives an ecclesiastical structure that's designed to prevent divorce by applying community pressure. That was the way it was always done. Apply the application of community pressure within the confines of the woman's social circle. Right now, do you agree with me, for instance, that many divorces happen because women like to yap? So you get a freshly divorced woman, and she's free. You go, girl. Girl power. And she starts talking to her little friends, and she starts telling them how liberating it is and how great it is and this and that. And this is why when women have divorced friends, their likelihood of divorce actually rapidly increases. It's for this reason.
Divorce is contagious.
So if it's the case that this social contagion is eliminated because now we have an ecclesiastical structure, an ecclesiastical authority, which won't grant it because you get ostracized from that social group through excommunication, for instance, or not being able to participate anymore with that community, that's an application of a serious and significant social pressure, which can do the very thing you want. Bring back that great institution, absent the state, and it avoids this whole problem of common law marriage. Because if it's the case that you can be common law married anyway inside of a state, and they can get grounds for divorce on that anyway, then we actually need to have some social pressures to prevent them from.
Yeah, last night I think the one red pillar, because I wouldn't call myself a red pillar, was anonymous base last night. When it came time to us doing the panel for Grid One Motorsports in the chat. Good on you for showing up, man. I appreciate it, man. Your presence is always good. Seeing you on there, always good, man. Having you in my chat as well too. Yeah, anonymous base is definitely he's planted hard on red pill, whereas I'm not. I only like the descriptors of red pill. As far as prescriptors, no, you could throw all that shit out. None of that, all that just leads to degeneracy. They can't do that. As far as Christ pill, if you even want to call it a pill, they actually get prescriptions. We have this, so speaking of nuclear families, it's always good. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, definitely. Yeah, dude he was pretty upset. It's like, that was entertaining. I'm not going to lie. I like when you and him were kind of going at it with your arguments, because I think that that's what the platform is there for. So that we can kind of present our ideas in real time and then see if logically we can untangle this and see which one has a prescription, which one would be good to be mapped onto society. I think this is always good, when we have this type of thing. Yeah, his idea marriage is transactional. Is that, yeah. I see when we talk about service, I don't see transactional when it comes to service and duty. I don't look at that as transitional, because I'll have a duty for my wife without expectation. I think that what he's talking about is like having an expectation at the other end of duty. I don't have an expectation. Like, I don't want to protect her and then say, okay, you owe me dinner for that. Like, that's just my duty, man. I really wish I would have brought that point up yesterday. This is crazy. So, yeah. Dating in the beginning is transactional, but once you make that commitment, it's no longer transactional. Yes, because you're vetting in that process. You're trying to see if you can weed out people who are just using you for money, things like this. You want to observe pattern. That's where the red pill part of that is. I would ascribe to is like the warning signs, the descriptor part of this, all that, watching out if a woman has a pattern or maybe history, things like that. I'll even stick to that. But as far as a prescriptor, you should sleep with women to get to know female nature. You don't need to sleep with women to get to know female nature. I'll even agree with you on that. So yeah, let's get back into this whole debate. This was a crazy debate.
Doing that. So it sounds like we agree marriage is awesome for men. Divorce is terrible for them. So it seems like we should be attacking the divorce structure here. And it doesn't seem like you actually have anything to do that other than just avoid the thing that's great for you because this other bad side effect could happen.
Sure, that's
So
like
why don't
smoking
we
cigarettes.
So why don't we attack the bad side effect when we have the mechanism to do it? It's not if, we can do it now.
Okay,
right this
so like
second.
smoking cigarettes is the same analogy you're saying. Okay, here, cigarettes in this situation, we obviously know it has negative side effects, so you would avoid it. Now, here's the issue that I have with it. It sounds great on paper, but we can't travel to the land of make-believe. It sounds great. The majority of people probably wouldn't do it, and if you ask a guy, which this is an important.
Yes, Ken with the 5. I don't want to say big 5 because another moderator says that such and such with the big 5 coming in. Hey, Ken, man, thanks for the 5, man. You got 5 on it, man. Yes, I am monetized as you're showing that I am monetized, man. I appreciate it, bro, man. Thanks for your support, man. Also, we're going to have a membership drive next week, and I'll have a special guest on my news segment called the Bench Press. So this is gonna, yeah, bro got, this is funny. Bro got a 4 kilo chain on his neck trying to smooth. This is crazy. Yeah, this is crazy. I just don't understand Greg Adams' arguments for degeneracy.
Important part, they're not even prepared to even talk about that. They don't even know what divorce laws are. So you're asking them to travel to the land of make-believe under a marriage system that small percentage of people use. No one uses it today. You might have said they used it to the past. Today, that doesn't exist. So we can't travel to the land of make-believe to make marriage work for you. It might work in your marriage, but it doesn't work for the greater structure.
Your argument here contradicts itself, because on the one hand, you say men don't know enough about marriage, but my assumption is that your mission is to let men know about marriage.
Absolutely.
Okay, well then I don't understand how it's the land of make-believe if you can let them know about this, but I can't.
Sure.
Right.
And
So
you can offer that.
So if
You
I
can offer
am,
that.
it sounds like I'm offering a real alternative to what you're offering. And here's what you're offering. Men, marriage is great. It's a great institution. It's the best for children. These are your words. In marriage, right, men seem to thrive. Their health seems to thrive. Everything seems to thrive. You're saying, well, the problem is that divorce rates are high, and they are. However, there's a few things there that you haven't covered. One, it depends on demographic too. For instance, if you're black, it's going to be way worse than if you're white.
Correct.
Okay, way worse. And also,
He's right. It is way worse, especially in the black community. This is why I address the black culture mainly when it comes to my podcast, my streams, and my news announcement that I have. I will have like a news segment because I have a news channel. I want to break into like using political, I would say social norms and bringing up these things that we're trying to normalize. If you're saying that it needs to be normal, it means it wasn't normal in the beginning. So when it comes to black community, they don't get married. They have the highest divorces, highest AB baby deletion rates. It's just bad. And this is why I have to address this when it comes to the black community, because there's white silence that exists. Can we all just agree with me here that if a white person speaks up on black problems, he's deemed racist for some reason? That's why I speak upon this, because Andrew speaks about this on TikTok in doing raids when he runs into this. But me, I want to run headlong into this and just address this specifically. I have black conservatives that I'm going to have on my channel that are going to be dealing with this. I think that this needs to be brought up. And I do think that we need to have propaganda railing against the awful black community that we do have right now. A lot of this is just degenerate, to be honest with you. And the only way to stop this is with propagandization of this and me doing clips and spreading this and having more people spread the word. I do think that it's effective to some degree, especially if we can be entertaining while doing it. And we need competent men in the front to do this as well, too.
Economics matters, right? Demographics in general matter. So you can do a lot, actually, including prenuptial agreements. You can have a prenuptial agreement with the ecclesiastical authority without the state even involved. And it seems like that would mitigate your risk to damn near nothing.
You said if about 50 times
So did
today.
you.
Now, here's what I'm telling you.
So
I'm
did
telling you
you.
when, all right? We're already in this system. You're going outside of the system to create a scenario for me to argue
What
against.
system are you going outside of?
We're talking about marriage is typically done with the state. Almost everyone does it this way.
Typically
so now
is
you're
not-
here's hold on
is
for a
not
second. Hold on
must.
for a second. You've
Typically
moved the
doesn't mean
goalposts.
anything.
You've moved the goalposts to a scenario of if, and you're arguing
is.
from the if.
Is.
No, hold on for a second. You're arguing from the if perspective.
It is perspective.
No, listen.
It is.
Give me a chance to listen.
All right,
give
I'll
me a
give you
chance.
Go ahead.
You're arguing from a very small percentage point. Now you're saying demographics, and we can talk about that, but you're still trying to get me to argue in your cloud of if. That's the land of make-believe. Most people, by far, are married to the state. Not only that, your land of
No, it's not make believe. I go to an Orthodox church that's massive. I go to St. Gate. The church I go to not only is massive, but they call it the Cadillac Church. It's an Orthodox church. Tons of married people that have stayed married forever. The divorce rate that I checked last time I checked, not these stats that they looked up. I don't know how they looked up their stats, but the last stats I checked, the divorce rate is down to 9%. I go to St. George and it's massive. There's nothing but Orthodox people still married together. They make it work. There's going to be storms. And regardless of what happens, they're not married to the state because God is in these marriages. So this guy's making one hellacious pivot one time it's just one crazy goalpost move from one to the next and just a complete filibuster.
make-believe still exists. The prenup with the ecclesiastics, you can write whatever you want in that prenup. It only matters in the divorce. That's the reality. So I'm still dealing in reality.
So
You're
am
in
I.
the clouds. Hold on for a second. You're in the
Okay.
clouds. So let's take the demographics.
Okay.
In your scenario, it sounds like, which would be fair, your primary concern is with white people.
No, it's with
Hold
all
on for a
people.
second. You said with black people, the demographics, the chance is higher.
Yeah.
So have you discovered the ecclesiastics approach to black people married within this?
Yes.
However, their demographics, economics, which all do affect marriage, has nothing to do in the land of the clouds or the make-believe with ecclesiastics. It's all going to boil down to in the law. And there's no church reverend that's going to go into your household to make sure there's social pressure on your wife. Do you know
yes,
any?
sir. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you know any that can cover all marriages? That
Yes.
answer is no.
Yes. And by the way, when you keep
Are we in reality here? Or
I'm
are we in
trying-
the clouds?
when
I mean,
you're-
we're
when
not
you're-
arguing
I was
anything
just
legitimate.
trying- I was just
this
trying
is this is in the land of make believe.
well, when
We
I'm
don't have
allowed to
enough-
respond, let
Okay,
me know.
give me a second.
Go
Let
ahead.
me finish this point.
Go ahead.
You're imagining. Your imagination is great. John Lennon would be great. You know, you would be proud of you at this particular point.
But I'm imagining all the people.
You're imagining all the people under a situation and a structure that you brought in here. All right. But the state highly governs this, and the state highly governs divorce. I'm dealing in a reality situation where I'm trying to counsel men to give information to. The best thing you've told me is that you're willing to give men the option to do this. Are they willing to all?
Yeah, that was crazy. Calling Rachel ran through and all this other bullshit. Like, this was crazy. Like, this guy was ad hominem general with a side of Captain Crunch. Like, that's the only thing that he's because he capped the whole time. So he's capping. That's what I'm talking about. So he didn't make one solid point the whole time, not one solution during this whole damn debate. Anyways, yeah, I'm getting fatigued and exhausted just watching this guy debate.
Do this option? The answer is probably not, just like they're not willing to do what I'm telling them to do. However, we're both attempting, which is a good thing. It's noble. However, your situation rarely exists. Can we talk about the reality of what exists?
Sure.
Absolutely. So let's take your moral religious crusade out of it and talk about the reality.
Yeah, let's
Are you
not.
willing to do that?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing.
See, you're not willing to do that
Well,
because it's all based on your reality.
Guess what? It's a debate, and I will argue my points from my view, how I see fit. It's not for you to.
But what I'm
govern.
not going to do is expect
not
to
my
be arguing
government.
from the land of make believe.
Yeah, but it's
okay.
not- you
All
don't-
right. So
okay, yeah,
anybody
my
have
turn. My turn.
Anybody
Relax.
have anybody have the sound effect for the television show where the train comes through, Mr. Rogers?
Let me know when you-
because I want to be on
let me know
I
when you
want to be
gas
on
out.
Earth.
Yeah. Let me know.
All
when
right,
you gas
Let's
out.
let Andrew respond.
Yeah. So the thing is it's funny that you bring up "Imagine All the People" of John Lennon, which is an anti-religious song, and hilariously enough, was designed to assist with female empowerment. Isn't that hilarious? But the thing here is you keep on saying that what I'm offering is make-believe, but it's not. It's been governing the Orthodox and Catholic Church for 2,000 years, including in this country. Now, here, let me give you an example, for instance, the Amish, right? Do you know what the divorce rate is among them? It's almost non-existent, yet they're still governed by the same laws of the land that you're speaking to. So sounds like if I give a counter, if I say, look, I can give you a way, a methodology, in which you can utilize the religious ecclesiastical institution which has existed for 2,000 years and has right now the lowest divorce rates, right this second as we speak, not in make-believe land, not hundreds of years in the future, right this second, as opposed to the system you have of common law divorce, which is sky high and you can't do anything about it. That's what is true. So pointing out what is true is right now you can have a prenup. That is true. What is true is prenups are usually held up in court. That is true. What is true is that you can have a marriage outside of a state because it's a religious institution anyway. You never have to have a license with the state. It's never been necessary. And if you do, the only way that can be done is if it's sacramental. And if it's sacramental, it's governed now by the church. That's going to be the community the women are a part of. And so the thing is like, that sounds like a real viable solution. What's yours? More fucking degeneracy? Go out and play the field, hump a lot of chicks? How's that going to help anybody do anything? That's been the progressive mantra for 100 years. Isn't it wonderful?
Yeah, that's crazy. Like he said it was make-believe, but Andrew just presented reality to this guy. Places where you can look in America and point to and say, look over there, this is happening. Look over here, this is happening in real time. Look over here, people are still holding on to these traditions that stem from 2,000 years into the past, when even we talk about church history. So he brings up the Amish, which is a really good example of people who have the mainstay of a functional foundational family and don't have divorces. Matter of fact, their divorce rates probably obliterated because the state is definitely objected from their marriage and taken out completely. So when we think about this can happen. Coach Greg Adams says it's make-believe. Of course, Andrew Wilson here says, look at this right here. I'm showing you proof of this.
Your turn.
All right, we're returning back to earth. Now, first things first, when it comes to this, back in reality, there's no God in marriage. So Mr. Sky Daddy, God, religion, that's all great, but there's no God in marriage. At this particular point, when you go through a marriage, if one person decides to not obey the Holy Bible or whatever you're thumping, you have no basis to keep that marriage together. If she decides to leave the church and decides not to listen or excommunicate herself, she's now under the state.
Agree.
Now,
As soon as he said, like, you're thumping a Bible, I already know which position he holds already, alongside the RP movement.
when you're getting divorced, which I'm assuming you've been divorced.
Well, I mean, that's a hell of an assumption to make.
Have you been divorced?
Well, I mean,
have you been married?
Can you tell me, if you can tell me how that has any merit?
Give me a second, because if you've been through one, you would know that there's no God in the divorce court, in the family court. There's no God in there. No one asked you.
There is the state in there.
There is the state. So that's what we're arguing from.
Yeah,
that's when you get married. So you're telling me if, and I'm telling you, well, this is what's going to happen. Even if you took Sky Daddy into court with you, they would say, you pray to the judge. The judge is the authority in the court. So the God argument is.
Yeah, Andrew Wilson is definitely not red pill. He doesn't subscribe to this, but he does recognize the descriptors. But that's as far as that gets. He's definitely not red pill for sure.
It's a nice, interesting argument. And I probably am not going to stay on the conversation very long, because that's your God. That's your Sky Daddy. Okay. That's your religion. I have a different religion. So who gives you who gives you the authority to change the understanding, the conversation to your religion? That's your religion.
I'm not changing the conversation.
Okay, so it only works if it only works if you believe in your Sky Daddy. That's the only way it works, and that's the only way you're going to advise men.
We're talking about mitigating risk.
No. We're talking about, can men get into a marriage today only under your Sky Daddy? That's what we're assuming.
Okay.
Now, can they do it otherwise?
Yeah, you can have secular marriage.
Okay, go ahead and explain.
Okay, yeah.
Make it work.
I just did. So
make it work.
The argument that you have is that marriage is great. It's a great institution.
We already covered this.
Well, what made it great?
We already covered this.
What made it great?
Can we go into why it would make it work?
Yeah, answer the damn question. Shit. Just answer the question.
That's the question I ask you. You're asking me questions back. Go ahead and and answer the question.
So if you're talking about secular marriage, there's never been any point to it.
I'm sorry?
There's never been any point to secular marriage, ever. Never. What would ever be the point of secular marriage? If it's always been a religious institution, that's what made it great. Now, when you say it's a great institution, what made it great for secularists, other than the fact that Sky Daddy and God had all these enforcement arms, and those things had to be enforced socially? Like, for instance, men weren't allowed to run away. And women, right, they had to show cause for these divorces. And they had to be good causes. They had to show it for things like infidelity, right? It was all biblically governed. It was all lawfully governed by this Sky Daddy guy you like so little. But that's what made the institution great in the first place. And what you're talking about here, you're making a point that divorce is bad. And yet, I agree, divorce is bad. So what we're really talking about is, how do we mitigate the risk for divorce? And we have two different methods here.
Well, the conversation
The
is
method-
marriage good for men. That's the conversation.
But it is. We already said it's good for men. That's not even in dispute.
And now, how do we make it better since they're avoiding
Well,
it?
it
Since
sounds
men or women
like-
are avoiding it.
It sounds like the thing that you think makes it bad is divorce, not marriage.
Correct.
Then
Listen,
we need to mitigate
we've already,
divorce.
we're 15 minutes in, and we are in the land of reality. You finally caught up. Can you tell
I've been
me
there the whole
how
time.
we can get to the secular marriage? I mean, I've given you a
Yeah,
chance.
so-
You're dragging your
So
feet.
again, secular
Andrew's not supporting secular marriage. This guy's an idiot. He's not once supported this. And then Greg Adams says, can you tell me how we get to the secular marriage? That's not his prescription.
there's never been any point to secular marriage ever.
Now, listen.
Right.
Marriage is for child creation. It would be great for child community
it's
and
not
all
just
of
for
these
that.
things. And now, listen, by the time the religious aspects got into marriage, they were chopping people's heads off and burning Bibles. So listen, I know we want to take it back to the past and act like the past was better, but there's always a negative part of the past. If you go back and you look at the English, this has all been there. People were getting their heads chopped off. The Crusaders were doing their things across countries, and they were spreading Christianity through
So,
threats and
what does that have
violence.
to do with anything?
Now, that's what you're trying to uplift. That's what you're trying to uphold.
I don't even know what the hell you're talking about.
You wouldn't know what I'm talking
I
about.
don't.
That's where you're lacking.
I have no
so
idea.
Catch up. You're sitting
What
across
does the
from me. I
Crusades
want
have
you
to
to
do with divorce?
That was when your holy marriage
Uh-huh.
was the best marriage that you're trying to go to. Now listen,
In the
if we're trying to drag it back-
1950s? Were we crusading
No,
in the
no, no,
1950s?
no, 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 no. You
What the hell are
talked
you talking about?
You talked about the institution of marriage for 2,000 years.
Yeah.
Sir, do you need me to catch you up on what you're talking
Yeah,
about?
but
You're having trouble
you know what
keeping up
marriage-
with me.
do you know what
You're
marriage looked
having
like
trouble
50 years
keeping up
ago?
with me.
He's making up shit. He's just saying you're having to, this is the greatest debater on the planet. Well, if not the greatest, if he isn't, like he's right up there. And Coach Greg Adams right now is just has an indefensible position. This is crazy. Just cope.
You said
I am
2,000 years ago.
truly,
And
your
I told
intellect
you
is
2,000
dizzying.
years ago, they were chopping people's heads off.
Which
need
has
you to-
what to do with
I
anything?
need you to catch up with me, sir.
Okay.
If you want to take things back to the past, you have
Uh-huh.
to accept everything as the past. You can't just cherry pick. Now,
What?
here's the thing. You're cherry picking. If you want to take things back to tradition,
Uh-huh.
take it all the way back. Why stop at the 50s? Take it back to the 1890s.
What you're saying right now is so incoherent. I actually don't even understand
Well,
it.
that's what, listen, when you're,
It's
when you're
completely-
running,
Yeah, because he's talking about chopping off heads, which has nothing to do with this. And he says that you need to take all this. Well, okay, if marriage rates were intact and we had high marriage rates and people just happen to lop off heads, what's that got to do with marriage?
out of bullets,
Incoherent.
when you're running out of bullets,
Well, it's
the
just
last thing you do
incoherent.
is the shame. All right,
I'm not
listen,
even trying to
are
shame you. It's
struggling?
just incoherent.
I need you to catch up with me.
Okay, catch me
I-
up.
just say you're lacking if you can't keep it up.
It's
All right,
an
now here's the
incoherent-
problem.
it's
Here's
incoherent.
here's the problem. Here's the problem.
I don't know what to tell you.
Here's the problem you're having.
2,000 years ago, they were chopping heads off. Who gives a shit?
Listen,
what does that have
you
to do with
said
anything?
2,000 years ago. I'm coming up with yours. Your holy religious 2,000 years ago. It's been a part of
What
the
does that
institution.
have to do with this?
Exactly. Here's the problem. You're cherry picking.
Cherry picking what?
Listen.
I'm
you
listening.
I'm gonna slow you down. I'm gonna
Slow
slow
me
you
way
down
down.
because I see what you're doing here. I'm gonna slow you down.
Okay.
Because it's hard for you to keep up.
It is. You're
I
right.
understand.
I
I
am-
understand because you
I
haven't
am
been across. This is your
bedazzled.
toughest debate. Your audience knows this.
Oh, it's rough.
There's no God in marriage
Okay.
in the United States.
Yeah.
Can we agree to that? When you get to divorce,
No.
there's
Wait, he said that, remember this. He said there's no God in marriage. And then he's moving to when we get to divorce, what?
no God in
No, we
marriage.
can't agree to that.
We need to agree to it because
He just said there's no God in marriage. Just remember, this is insane rhetoric that he's spewing right
when
now.
you go into divorce courts,
Yeah.
there's no God.
Yeah,
you
but
can't bring in your
I
God
thought-
and your Bible. And at that particular point, none of your ecclesiastics marriage works.
Okay.
Period.
Yeah, without God, it doesn't work. But when you bring God into marriage, it definitely works. But he's arguing for God not being in marriage, not working. Me and Andrew would definitely agree with this. Yeah, when you remove God from marriage, you take two fathers out of the home. For one, when you have EBT food stamps, the father's out of the home because if he comes back in, they're going to cut food stamps off of the mom. And then you're eliminating God from the father. From the home, it's like there's two fathers out of the home. This is really bad rhetoric right now. He's defending an indefensible position. This doesn't make any sense.
Period.
So the thing is, you just said, can we agree that there's no God in marriage? And then he switched,
You don't have to agree.
But hang on, calm down. And then you switched over to divorce. There's no God in divorce. But those are two different questions and proposition. Hang on, relax. The second thing is that me saying that what made marriage a great institution is this whole Sky Daddy character, and that the institution has been in place for 2,000 years, and
There
it's
we
been,
go,
hang on,
2,000 years.
calm down.
2,000
And it's been a
years.
strong institution. I'm not actually sure how tying in that at the time they cut people's heads off, what that has to do with the fact that in the 1950s and 40s, you still had 95% of these marriages staying together. This is not ancient history. This is not even early American history. That's hang on. That's in your grandfather's lifetime, basically. And this, by the way, that was the case for black marriages as well. Very strong institutions. Correct. But all of those institutions were that way because they followed that whole Sky Daddy thing. Correct. They were like, oh, that Sky Daddy's going to smite us if we don't. And so what you do here is you're giving the classic progressive argument, which is, well, you know, guys, it is true that it's a great institution, and it is true it's the best place in the world to have children for the continuation of the species. And also, it's fantastic for men's health. It's fantastic for their mental health. It's great for them in almost every way. But that divorce thing is real bad. And I counter. You're right. That divorce thing is real bad. We have now a center of agreement. But now we're going back to the marriage in the West thing, which is that whole great institution problem. Well, if we agree that what made it good, which you just did, is, hey, that Sky Daddy guy, and then I point out that right now you can still utilize that Sky Daddy guy for an ecclesiastical marriage outside of the state. Hang on. And the only thing you could do is say, well, what about common law? But you can't govern anybody from common law. And at least in the ecclesiastical institution, you have social pressures on women to stay married. You can't offer a man anything like that. Give me a single social pressure you can offer that would actually keep these marriages together. One.
Greg Adams doesn't have one solution. I bet I've seen this already, but no solutions, nothing as a prescription for society. This is just absolutely a stomp by Andrew Wilson.
What? Just one.
Can I answer something you just said? This would be interesting.
I can't wait.
You said,
but can you answer that question then?
No, before.
Oh, of
the
course.
1940s.
Of course, you gotta ask me a question.
Because listen, I'm listening to you.
Because he can't answer that. He doesn't have a prescription, so he's going to go to something else that he just either he wasn't listening, or anyways. Let's continue.
You asked the question at the end. If you would have asked it at the beginning, possibly I might have been able to address it. But let me address this point.
Okay.
You said the 1940s and 1950s with this imaginary Sky Daddy controlling marriages. That sounds like enforcement. Because by the time the 1970s came around, the very first chance women got to file a no-fault divorce without need for evidence, without need to have a private investigator to prove an affair.
Was no fault the 70s?
Yes, it was the 70s, started by Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
I'll educate you.
But hang on.
Came along. Hold on for a second. No. I got the floor here. I got the floor. So you said the religious institutions governed it and made it great. The 1970s came along, and as soon as they did, women started to file divorces at record rates, which is back to my conversation. Soon as you remove the authority of Sky Daddy, now you're back with the state. And now you have difficulty, and now the risk is.
This makes Andrew's argument because he talks about removing the authority of Sky Daddy. Right. We both agree on this. If you take God out of the home, guess what's happening? You have no prescription anymore. This guy's crazy.
Now greater.
Wow.
So that's the issue that
then
you
it
have.
Sounds like men should be moving towards Sky Daddy
Right. Exactly.
then, because it mitigates the risk.
The courts, the nation should be.
There's
moving
no
towards
courts.
that. But how do you enforce that?
What court? What courts? You're not getting a marriage from the state. What courts are involved here?
Everything you told me is a make-believe scenario.
How? You can do it right now. How is it make-believe?
How do you do that when people, the
what
marriages through state?
Yeah.
I know you want to go back to Ecclesiastics. This
No,
is
I'm
going to be
telling
a
you, you
problem.
can do it right this second.
Okay,
you can
do
go
it.
do it right now.
You can do it at this particular
You
point.
can't do.
However,
What do you mean?
Here's the problem.
Okay.
Can you get men to do it?
Yes.
Okay, you might be able to think you can get men to do it, but as soon as they do it, I want you to stick around for the average of 8 to 10 years. When these men start getting divorced, see, what you're doing is you're leading.
We've been watching it for longer.
You're going to lead men into a burning building. And the reason why, and this is a famous quote by Martin Luther King, is speaking.
Oh, he's going to use the famous black quotes, and he's going to go to black culture, which is failing right now. This is horrible. No, please don't do. Like, you remember that scene in Rocky when the black guy was like, throw in the towel, and he just throw the towel in? Like, this is like, his people should be screaming this for him right now. This is insane.
Because the laws of integration didn't catch up fast enough for what he wanted for people to integrate. And what happened was it took him 12 to 15 years to realize that he led men or black people into a burning building in which integration was not possible at the time.
Okay.
You are also proposing the same thing. And I would like for you to stick around to see the results of what you're proposing, because eventually you would have to pay the price. How did Martin Luther King pay the price? You would have to pay the price for the men that you misled.
So Martin Luther misled men, and that's why he was killed?
I said he misled black people. You missed that part.
Those
He said, okay, let me repeat it, because you're slow. All right, you definitely are slow, Neanderthal.
That's for sure.
Let me tell you something.
I'm dragging
Martin
knuckles
Luther
over here.
King said,
Look, the ad homs and stuff, it's like it's not even working. And then he wants to go back to Martin Luther King and black culture. That's an L. Matter of fact, I don't know if anybody knows this, but Martin Luther King cheated on Coretta Scott King a lot of times. And not only this, but I mean, of course, the phone calls were bugged and all this other stuff, but he was caught with infidelity in his marriage. It's a bad example. I mean, I can go on with what Dr. Martin Luther King did, but I mean, I don't want to make that about this, but moving on.
specifically related to black people and civil rights,
Yeah.
I'll speak slowly for you,
Yeah.
that he believed at the end, he led them into a burning building. I'm going to speak slower. The
Okay.
reason why is because the laws of integration.
Yeah, one's in the chat if you think Dr. or Coach Greg Adams is low IQ.
Did not catch up with what he would like to present. Black people weren't ready to integrate. As a result, he said, I may have led my people, that means his people, into a burning building.
Okay.
I would like for you, under your scenario, if your movement takes off, to see the results, because it took Martin Luther King 12, 15 years to see the results
I understand
of
now.
his efforts.
Yeah.
You're proposing something very extreme that majority of people aren't going to do. But let's just say because you like to hide in the clouds of make-believe, if
They did.
this works,
Right.
I would love to see you represent these men in a divorce when they get their head bit off by these so-called women that are forced by Sky Daddy to stay in these marriages.
This is really, like, I don't even understand how
You don't understand. I know you have a hard time understanding.
I do. I don't actually even understand how to respond to a lot of this because it's so incoherent, but I'm going to try anyway.
Oh yeah, see, this is
So
I
let's
see
start-
this is his always incoherent when he understands. Perhaps you don't understand.
this isn't-
That might be what it is,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's okay to say you don't understand, and I can speak slowly for you.
I don't understand now, but I'm going to
Of
tell you
course.
why. I'm going to
Of
tell you
course,
why.
dismissive. I mean,
I'm going to tell you
it's
why.
okay.
It's-
When you're losing, just say
okay.
you're losing,
Well-
and I can.
Shut up. God, this guy filibusters and interrupts the whole time. Oh, man, I'm so fatigued and exhausted right now. This is insane.
Speak
Let
for
me
you
know
a
when I
little
can
bit
talk
slower.
and you gas out.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So here's
typical tactic, but you
here's-
can work that against these
Okay, so I still
OnlyFans
can't
girls.
talk.
Hey,
Go
listen,
ahead.
you can work that tactic against those OnlyFans girls that you debate, debating 23-year-old ignorant women.
They're smarter than you.
But now
They're
you're
smarter
sitting
than you.
across from a person.
They're always smarter than you.
Yeah, you're sitting across from a person here.
Oh no.
That's looking at a Neanderthal, say you don't understand something very
Well,
simple.
let me know when he gas out
This
so
is
I
the
can
simplest thing that you can understand.
Okay.
Your go. Your go.
Are you sure? I can
Please.
actually do it this
And
time?
please, put me to sleep. please.
Okay, so
Put me to
here's,
sleep.
Here's why it's incoherent, and there's a bunch of this I don't understand. You keep on saying that these men are going to get divorced, and yet I'm proposing non-state marriages. How are they going to get divorced? Well, you can only say then via common law. But again, you have no defense yourself against
These are if scenarios.
I don't-
I mean, come
I don't-
on,
I
man.
don't-
Please,
I
you
don't-
said that-
No, these aren't if scenarios. We have this happening right now. He mentioned the Amish community and more. This is ridiculous. He's saying this as if it doesn't exist in reality.
I was going to debate somebody
This
that's going to
is-
come.
Why do you
This
keep
is a if
filibustering?
scenario.
Are you? I
Give
let
me a
you
real
speak.
scenario,
I let you
please.
speak the entire time.
Give me something to speak about.
Okay,
You're giving me
I'm
an
not
if
asking you to
scenario.
speak. I'm
You're
asking
trying
you
to
to
invite
listen.
me to your church.
I'm just
I'm not going to
asking
your
you
church.
to
Please
listen.
give me a real scenario.
You have to shut up long enough for me to
Come
do
on,
it.
please. I've been here 30 minutes waiting for you to do it.
All right.
Give
So,
me a real scenario.
okay. So what I
Those are real scenarios. Amish people, Orthodox people, Catholic people. I'm so exhausted right now. This guy is giving me such fatigue. It's just insane.
don't understand here again, and I'm going to ask again. In your incoherent worldview,
Okay, please.
you keep on saying that these men who I propose this to are going to get divorced. But I'm not proposing that they get married through the state. The state's the one who does the divorces. So the only thing you could say is that there's a potential for common law here. But that's something you yourself cannot guard them from by your own admission. The second problem that we have here is that I don't have to stick around for 10 or 15 years because we can look at the numbers right now in religious marriage for what this looks like. And here's what this looks like. If you're a Catholic, you're way less likely to get divorced. And if you're Orthodox, even less likely to get divorced. And it's because of that ecclesiastical structure. You're not ever going to be able to prevent all risk from divorce, not under anything.
Thank you, God. That's the most real.
And then not to mention this, but Red Dot Indian, even lower than Orthodoxy and even lower than Catholicism and even lower than Mormons. So you can even Google this. I think it's like 6% or 3% or something like that. It's really low, their divorce rates over there. It's just insane. Like he could have just brought up this as well too, but he didn't even have to. Coach Greg Adams has no solutions and no recommendations and no prescriptions as usual.
Not under any, but not under any system.
Correct.
Is that going to be the case?
But why are Catholics getting divorced? How do they get divorced?
They get annulments. They don't even get divorces.
Okay,
and it's a really long process, and it's rare.
Christians have a similar divorce rate than the secular.
No.
So they have a very close. So how do they get divorced?
I'm going to
How
explain.
do Christians get divorced?
No, you're talking about evangelism. Their divorce rates are super high. You're talking about a church that was co-opted by feminism in the West, which is ridiculous. Like you might as well be just as bad as secularists that allow LGBT flags everywhere else and female pastors. Of course, it's going to be bad in that church.
I'll answer your question.
Please tell me, because I know how to get divorced.
So
right into the divorce court.
Yeah, I know. So because they call it a state marriage.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm proposing that they don't do that, right?
Okay, a land of make-believe.
How's that a land of make-believe? You can go fucking do it right now.
Please tell me what
are you talking about?
What percentage of people do this particular thing that you're doing, that you're proposing?
Why would that matter? Let's say it's one person. Why would that matter?
It's one person. So you're taking a very small chance. You're arguing against me that has millions of people on my side.
Who are getting divorced and you don't want them to.
But you're telling me a small 20 people in a little house on the prairie that do these, that you govern people without.
Right. If they have 100% success rate and you have 100 people that have 100% losing rate, his 1% is way better a prescriptive measure than your 100% of people on your side taking L's with no prescriptions, no recommendations, nothing you can map onto society and doesn't work because Sky Daddy isn't there. We have Sky Daddy according to you, and it works most of the time. It's a prescription. It works most of the time. It's a solution. This guy's driving me insane. It's crazy.
Electricity and you riding horse and carriages. Yeah. You're telling me this small percentage of people are going to lead a movement of doing something you're proposing here on YouTube. This is going. How many people are doing this?
Okay. Why would that matter?
It would matter because then we can use some data to determine, do these people end up in divorce?
Well, we can
more
do it.
than likely.
This is great because we can look at the data. So let's look at.
Please.
Do you want to look at the Catholic data and Orthodox data for marriage?
We're talking about your ecclesiastic proposal.
That's what we're talking about. This is the ecclesiastical proposal.
Man, Coach, CGA is so slow, but he accuses Andrew of being a Neanderthal. This is crazy.
Catholic and Christians, their divorce rate tends to be very close.
I'll look it up.
It's very close.
Not even close. This is insane. On what realm of reality is Coach Greg Adams talking? This is crazy.
Catholic. Hold on for self-ID'd Christians.
Self-ID'd
Christians.
Okay.
Self-ID.
No, let's just put Christians.
He's like, Christian and Catholic.
You have to tell me what a Christian is.
He likes to dice up.
Yeah, you have a lot of people that call themselves, the Latter-day Saints call themselves Christians. Jehovah's Witnesses call themselves Christians. So we have to determine what kind of, you ever see that movie Civil War? What kind of American are you? No, what kind of Christian are you? You know, because if you're a Mormon and you call yourself Christian, well, we wouldn't even be in the same church. This is crazy.
All of these people, and listen, I would love to go to your church one day. I would be a wonderful guest, and I would love to thump the Bible, and I would love to say a prayer with you. However, this conversation is entering into,
can we pull up my screen?
Very much a Sky Daddy conversation, which it's about belief.
Who brought up Sky Daddy?
You brought it up about
we got the divorce rate pulled up right here.
That's not
you brought that up.
What is that?
So that is a religious argument.
If you're an atheist, you should be able to
lower than the national average. Strongest among practicing Catholics who attend Mass weekly.
A lot of people would not want to do that. You're telling me a small percentage of people
are
going to do.
Non-religious, atheist, unofficial, 37 to 40%. Insane.
We're talking about mitigating the rates of divorce. It doesn't matter how.
Ironically, when we're talking about, me looking at Grok and debates and all this other, this guy pulls up ChatGPT during a debate and reading this verbatim. I don't know. So I just thought this was very ironic, by the way. Just wanted to point that out. Here we go.
How many
Can
do
we
it?
move forward from this one? We agree to disagree.
No, we
Can
don't
mo-
agree to disagree.
Okay,
I
so
need
you want to
counter
keep it here in
arguments.
your land of make
I want
believe.
counter
No,
arguments.
I'm not going to argue in your land of make believe.
Yeah,
because
because you can't.
Because
You have no counter
it's
arguments.
ridiculous. It's
You don't have
ridiculous.
one counter argument.
here's a counter argument.
Okay, what is it?
There's no God in marriage. How many times do I have to say that?
That's an
If you
assertion.
end
It's
up-
not an argument.
If you end up in divorce court, God doesn't matter. None of this matters. That's real. That's the realest argument that you can possibly hear. Soon as
How do you end up in a divorce court without the state?
Hold on for a second. Hold
How?
on for a second. Hold on for a second. I'm going to tell you how.
Okay.
In the 1940s,
Correct, Ken. That's a really good point. Anybody could self-ID as a Christian doesn't necessarily mean they are. You know how many OF workers that I do see on the whatever have a cross on their neck in all this and then say they're Christian? It's an insane amount. It's one too many, actually. But moving in, that's a good point.
which you so love, I don't know why you don't live there. You look like you live there.
Uh-huh.
You're dressed like you live there.
They
Here's
wore
the problem.
hoodies and
Hold on
jeans
for a
in the
second.
40s,
Hold
did they?
on for a second. Here's the problem.
Okay.
These people, under your authoritative, godly.
This moderator, by the way, has done the worst job in this whole debate. I mean, the moderator wasn't even present. Maybe once or twice he mentioned something, and then that's it. Just he allowed Greg Adams to gish gallop the whole time, interrupt the whole time. Never once intervened, mind you.
marriage
Yeah.
still got divorced at high rates
No, they
once
didn't.
no fault divorce showed up. It started at 25%. Then by the time you get here, it's close to 40 and 50%. It's still prevalent. I'm giving you the reality
That's
here.
not the
You're trying
reality.
to drag me back over here to Little House on the Prairie. It's not working. It's not going to work with me. How about this?
How about a counter
If traditional,
argument?
if
Can I get one
traditional
of
marriage,
those?
I gave you one. I
What?
mean, come on, man.
What is the
Come
counter
on, man.
argument? Come
Listen,
on, man. It's not a
listen,
counter
listen.
argument. What's the counter argument?
There's no God in marriage, and
That's
divorce
an
court,
assertion, not
there's
an
no
argument.
God in divorce court.
God's not an
I assert
argument.
that there's no
Okay, well,
God
there
in
is a
divorce
God
court.
in divorce court. Argument defeated.
Exactly.
Argument defeated.
Yeah. Oh my goodness,
It's
boy!
so
All right. Did you
silly.
need your sandbox outside? Did you miss your toys?
It's just
Did you not get a
ridiculous.
nap?
Like,
Here's the
I
problem.
want an argument,
This is the
dude.
absolute argument.
Yeah, Greg isn't making an argument at all. He's just saying you guys just don't have Sky Daddy, which isn't an argument. He's right. It's just insane.
Okay.
You're trying to drag me to church. I'm taking you outside of church. You can't combat it because you want to battle inside the church.
Well, because therein lies a solution. That's why he's trying to drag you back in the church and then show you, hey, we have a solution, whereas you guys don't. No, let me drag you out here where we have no solutions absent God for marriage, because marriage doesn't have God in it. Well, that's why you're failing. This guy is a self-defeatist when it comes to having a bad argument.
Church. I'm not letting you. So let's get back to the
I
state.
don't care if secularists get married.
Let's get back to the state
What do you mean?
and that divorce rate. Did you find out the numbers?
Yeah, I pulled it up earlier, but I'll pull it
Uh-huh.
up again. It's up on the screen. Can you guys see this? Catholic, 19 to 25%. Mainline Protestant, 30 to 35%. Evangelical, 26 to 33.
That's
Yes.
up there.
So, okay, let's look at this. Catholic, 19%. Evangelicals, of course, it's going to be higher than Catholic, for sure. All right, let's get back to
Now, pull up
That's up there.
Orthodox.
40,
Orthodox.
33, 34,
Mhm.
30. That's pretty high.
I've actually never used ChatGPT before. I've used Grok, but this is the first time I'm looking at this. This is I don't. Do you have to purchase ChatGPT? I don't know. I know Grok's for free, but
Orthodox divorce rate. Let's see.
17 to 20.
I see average 33%.
that's weird because last I checked, it was 9%. But anyways,
That's
US
US.
That's
average.
evangelical
adults.
Protestants. Dude. That's with the
It says
coalition of
Orthodox
all
adults
of them.
ever divorced 17 to 20. U.S.
Yes.
adult average 33%.
Yeah, so they're much lower.
It says in the U.S. 33%. The
They're
Orthodox ever divorced, that's worldwide.
Yeah, they're much lower rates.
Okay, but you're saying that they can't get divorced. That's what you said.
No, bro.
You said, is that what you said?
The whole point
said
here
they
is
can't get
how do
divorced
we
because you're
mitigate the
enforcing
risk
them.
of divorce? You can't ever completely mitigate it.
30%.
It can't ever be completely mitigated, but you can mitigate the risk of divorce.
Okay, great.
It is lower. They're
Much
saying
it's
lower,
lower.
much lower.
Okay, all right. So a chance of getting hit 30% versus 44%. This doesn't defeat the argument.
okay, let me bring this back up real quick. Hold on. 1 second. Here we go. I gotta bring this up real quick. This is what we showed. 9% divorce rate for Orthodox Christians, often cited statistic. All right, let's bring this right back up real quick. Share screen. Back to the argument. Like I just showed you guys, 9% divorce rate for Orthodox Christians as an often cited statistic, placing it among religions with lower divorce rates. I just pulled that up for you guys. And matter of fact, let me look at the date on this, and let's continue on with this whole debate real quick. Yeah, it's true. This is also why you hold on. Let me pull this up real quick. AG says this is why you don't bring up statistics in a debate. They change super often. That's why I don't like to use statistics in a debate. That's why I'm pretty sure Andrew Wilson doesn't want to do this and be statistic heavy. To me, this is just insane. You know what I'm saying? It's just it's not even analogous to the whole point. If you want to bring up statistics and then you look somewhere else, I just proved to you. So AG is completely right, because I can pull up where 9% is the divorce rate when it comes to Orthodox Christianity. They bring it up and it's like 17%. It's still lower than the secular marriages and everything else. Ken says 20% of divorce means that there's at least 80% success rate, or maybe I'm dumb. I don't understand mathematics, Marta. Help me understand. Isn't 80% pretty good? Yeah. Crazy rhetoric, right? Insane stuff, right? This is what we're dealing with here.
The state. These people are all adding the state, okay? The Catholics themselves, if you were to look at their annulments rate from the ecclesiastical authority, it's actually much lower than even the percentage that you're getting from the state, because they add the state in, which means some people will ignore the ecclesiastical authority and get divorced anyway.
That's exactly what I've been telling you.
Nobody ever argued that.
Exactly. But so
we're arguing about mitigating the risk. Mitigating the risk.
Still a risk.
No, it would mitigate the risk.
So the risk is slightly lower.
Much lower.
Okay, that's not that much lower.
It's much lower.
40%. You're talking about 33% to 43%.
No, he said 17%. You're just making shit up. This is crazy. It said 17%. You're talking about 40% in your arena. 1740. That's a massive distinction. And he's saying 30. No, Orthodox was not 30% last time I checked. It said 17%. So he's taking a massive L. This is why I don't bring up percentages in debates. I bring up a logical argument. That's it.
We're not. We're talking about 20% to 35 to 40%.
Okay, so that's lower.
Yes.
Okay, that's all you got. Now, here's
that's
the
all I
problem.
need.
That's not all you need, because there's still risk. How do you?
Nobody said there wouldn't be risk.
Exactly.
You can't mitigate risk for anything 100%. It's not possible.
Exactly. So now why are we telling men to get married?
Because you have to, because everything is a cost-benefit analysis. Your issue's not marriage. Your issue is with mitigating the risk.
At this point, it's not marriage. This is the only. Hold on for a second. Can I say this?
Oh my God.
Can
you ever stop saying something so I can say something?
At this particular point, listen,
okay, I'm listening.
You're telling me from this point, we haven't even got to the entire marriage, because you're still over in the land of make-believe. We haven't even got to the other issues of marriage.
Make-believe?
Hold on for a second. We still haven't got to the other issues of marriage.
I'm willing to
so
get to
you're
everything.
telling me about the mitigation risk, and we've wasted too much time on it. Can we talk about the other issues of marriage?
Well, okay.
Sexless marriage.
Can we at least wrap this up?
Yeah, let Andrew finalize this, and then we'll move on to that.
The thing is like, the problem is you said it was a great institution. If you say it's a great institution, even when it was a great institution, people were still getting divorced. So if that's the case, what you're really after is just mitigating risk. And I'm giving you a perfect way to mitigate risk, right? And the fact of the matter is that it is becoming more and more popular to do it this way. Prenup plus ecclesiastical authority almost mitigates your risk entirely, except for common law, but you can pick the state to live in for that. And you, by your own logic, can't defer from common law either. You can't protect men from that. So the thing is like, you can't have it both ways. You can't agree marriage is good and the backbone for the West, and you really like it, and it's fucking great, and it's a great institution, but also don't do it because it's make-believe that you can mitigate risk, even though you can right this second. That's insane.
Listen,
all right,
I'm listening.
Final point. Let's get to the other risks that are associated with it. We got that.
That's
we
not a
tackled
final
that
point on this.
That is
make the final point and then
listen,
go to
listen.
that.
I'm a grown man. I'm not 22-year-old OnlyFans. I'm going to say what I want to say. Listen to this. At this particular point,
you got me on that one.
Listen, We're moving forward.
Okay, we're moving
At
forward.
this point. What are the other risks that we want to guard against? We got the divorce. You're going to put them on the ecclesiastic paperwork. Less people are doing that. Not a lot of people know how to do it. He just got married. He didn't do it.
He's saying it's paperwork, like it's just the state sanctioned like a ceremony and things like this. No, we're talking about a covenant, things that actually last, things that are solution orientated. When it comes to this, we're talking about outcomes, not being utilitarians here. When it comes to Christian ethics, that lasts longer. So the whole time, as you can see, Andrew has offered a viable solution for society when it comes to marriage. Greg Adams, zero. This is a fat ass L where he's just saying, no, danger's afoot. You must subscribe and buy my book, the free agent lifestyle. Buy that because I need you to keep coming up and taking these L's, because he's not offering solutions. So he's going to have repeat customers, and that's his strategy. This is the RP way. And I just think it's bad when they offer prescriptions because they don't have any.
Do it. All right. I can almost guarantee.
Probably not.
Exactly.
So what?
So now, less people are going to do this. Not a lot of people know that. Not a lot of men are going to prepare themselves to do that.
Change that.
Exactly. So that would be a very tough scenario, and most likely it's not going to happen moving forward.
Okay.
There are other issues in marriage that typically, depending on what authority you go under, are still a risk for men. Yes, it's great for the backbone, but a lot of men are in sexless marriages. A lot of women are in sexless marriages. The percentage of affairs in marriages are still a big issue. That can't be addressed. Those risks are going to be tough. And now you have an issue, because now whoever's your authority has to mitigate that risk. Now all of a sudden they have to govern or socially pressure the women, and that's going to be difficult to do. 20%, 30% of sexless marriages, 20-30% of people having affairs. This is not the intent of people who get married. So yes, we have the divorce. We set that aside. Now, what about within the marriage? How do you mitigate the risk for that? I'm assuming you're going to have the...
Yeah, that's true, Relentless. With Pearly thing, you know what? Me and Pearl got into a debate. It was pretty heated over marriage, and I think it was like a stalemate. We got into it. It was pretty brutal. You know what? I should actually post that on my channel so you guys could see the fallout that happened because of that, and in the whole debate, the fight that we got into.
Ecclesiastic come through the home and force the wives to fuck their husbands.
Oh, that's quite the straw man. But I'll go ahead and answer. Actually, the ecclesiastical authority does mitigate against this, and here's my proofs. Proof one: if it is the case that you get married to a woman who's a virgin, but she's a virgin because she's a Christian, hang on, let me get through the entirety of the argument before you start freaking out. If it is the case,
Virgins.
your chances of that marriage ending, very, very, very small, one. And two, they report that they have a happier sex life. This is actually the case with the decrease in body count, which generally comes with the more religious people, meaning the more that you take your religion seriously, the more that you pray, the more that you engage in that whole ecclesiastical authority thing, the less likely it is you step out of your marriage, significantly less likely. The less likely it is that you end up in a sexless marriage. You know why? Because there's a reinforcement in Christianity that men and women are not allowed to deprive each other of sex when it comes to marriage. And you find that people who follow the traditional faith generally don't. And so, yes, the ecclesiastical authority preaches that from the pulpit. Sorry, lady, you got to fuck your husband. That's part of God's law. Yeah. What do you got for him? Go out and just fuck everybody? What are you going to do to mitigate? By the way, you're at the mercy of the same criticism.
That's not a leap. He's giving a prescription. He's asking you, if we have societal pressure, societal shame, and we have a communal sense in the church that we offer people to support each other and actually stay together. And there's also shame to leave. There's also stigma. If you don't sleep with your husband, things like this, you're not fulfilling these duties. What do you offer, Greg Adams, besides zilch?
You can't mitigate guys' girlfriends from fucking around on them any more than you could a person's wife. You can't mitigate them stepping out on them. You can't mitigate them treating them like shit. You can't do anything. At least I have a mitigation here. You have nothing. You have nothing. Just liberal degeneracy. Give me something. Something you could do that would give any kind of fail-safe against this. One thing.
I don't know what communities you live in, but your church pastor is going to be very busy walking in all of these bedrooms, preventing divorce and enforcing women.
Pastor? That's a pastor? How about spiritual father? We have different names, but Pat, you're Yeah, he's reverting to Western Christianity. This is crazy.
To sleep with their husbands. Now, the first leap
like you
of
didn't
faith
even
that you
hear a word I
have,
said.
hold on for a second. Oh, I heard you. The first leap of faith is virgin. Okay, if we look at the stats, please pull up the stats of how many women qualify as a virgin.
On virginity.
You said
That's the
virginity. I'm just
baseline.
letting you know.
Oh my
You
God.
brought it up.
In
Now,
America,
in America, what women percentage qualify as virgins? All right, so you're gonna say very few. So you know this.
7% age 22 to 34.
7%.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you know what?
So now we have.
God, this guy. Do you know what a baseline for an argument is?
That was the baseline.
Yeah,
You
and
want to say
so
now? Do we want to
the
increase the body count?
Yeah,
I mean, because
yes,
if you're looking,
that was the whole point of the baseline of the argument.
So right now, if we can pull up how many women in Gen Z, because this is marital age women, would have a body
That's
count
not the only
lower than 5.
No,
because
millennials
now
are
we're
also marriageably aged. What do you mean?
okay. Millennials, younger
Yeah,
millennials.
yeah.
Okay, because there's no point in older people getting married. They're not procreating. All right, they're gonna have 1 or 2 kids.
Older
that doesn't
people
help
do
us.
procreate.
Not that much. All right,
That's
they're gonna
true,
have 1 or
but
2 kids.
the
All right,
thing-
listen. It said in the
What do you
Bible, in
mean?
your Bible, it says,
Yeah.
"Be fruitful and multiply," not add. All right, we're not adding one little autistic kid. We're multiplying.
That would be
All right?
multiplying.
No, it wouldn't be multiplying.
Yes,
Having
it would.
one little bread
if you
ass
have
kid.
3 and you have 1 more, that's
All
you
right,
multiplying.
however, multiplying by 1. All right, that's
So
not an answer.
multiplying.
Okay, listen. We're multiplying
Okay.
by multiples. You know what I'm talking about. Now listen.
Yeah, that is a
you
multiple
Want,
that
the,
we're
hold on for a second.
multiplying
Hold on
by.
for a second. You want to convince me
Uh-huh.
that there's going to be women of low body count in this secular world we live in to make your scenario
They're more
work, to
likely to-
enforce women to have
Yeah,
sex with
they're
their
gonna be
husband
more
from
like-
the pulpit.
Yeah.
Do you see? This is very strange.
Well, I have
from
all
a
the data
secular
to back
person.
my. Show me
from
anything.
a very small percentage. I mean, it works in a podunk town. I don't
Doesn't
know
just
where you're
work in a
from.
podunk
We're
town.
talking about the metropolises. We're talking about major
And
cities.
how is your
And you're talking
plan
about
going to mitigate
virginity.
that? How is your
I
plan
asked
going to
you-
mitigate
remember,
that?
I don't know if you remember. I asked you. All right.
And I
This is the
told
question
you.
and you came back with virgins.
No.
And you came back with
Oh my God.
enforcing
Why
sex
do
from
you
the
only
pulpit.
give half the argument? That's why you can't respond to my arguments. So let's do it again. If you want to
Please.
mitigate,
Force women to have loaded body
You're not,
counts.
dude. How's it force?
Go ahead.
How's it force?
You're the one enforcing sex
How
to the
is it?
husband.
How?
do you
How are we
enforce sex-
using force?
How are you enforcing sex to the
through
husband from the
social
pulpit?
pressure, doofus. The same way you would with
Okay,
everything.
gentlemen.
He's saying this like this doesn't work and it's not impactful. It does work, especially if women who are more communal than men when it comes to being the glue to society. We've had grandmothers in our family, like especially the Black community. We had Big Mama. Remember some of the staple that we had in community as far as togetherness, the cohesiveness is women. Women are very communal. So when you take women out of this, you don't give them community in which to adhere to, guess what happens? Things fall apart.
Gentlemen, your wife is going to have sex with you because church reverend enforced her to have sex with you.
Do you think?
Okay, please pull up the chat.
Yeah, pull
His
up the chat.
suggestion is to have a church reverend enforce you
They're
to
not
have
enforcing
burning
it.
desire to have sex with your
Enforce
husband.
requires force. Enforce is a derivative of force. You can't enforce absent force. No one's saying force.
This is how your sex is going to be had in his marriage. It's through enforcement through the religious pulpit.
No, it's going
I
to
mean,
be
this
the
is
idea.
2025,
if it's
and we're
the
still here
idea-
somewhere on Little House on the
Yeah,
Prairie.
if it's the idea,
I would love
that
to have
women
this reality.
If it's the idea that women have and men have both, that they're not supposed to deprive each other from this, because that is how they live the life of a Christian. The case of the matter is that they try to keep themselves sexually appealing to the partner. They try to keep themselves moving towards that state where they're found appealing. That's part of that. Why do you think? And by the way, you keep saying force. Can you
Enforce.
demonstrate anywhere that I said that there would be any force involved with any of this, or that it's even
I said
necessary?
enforce.
Enforce is force.
Correct. That's what. So, I was
So
correct
where
by
is
using
the force?
You
Where?
tell me. You're the one.
You're
that's gonna
asked the
say-
question.
Wait, you're the one that told me the church reverend is going to come enforce.
Reverends now, we went from pastor to reverends, and this is, I don't know why he thinks orthodoxy is like some regular non-denominational church. This is crazy.
Marriage.
No,
and sex.
when?
You said that earlier.
No. I said the
Enforcement from
ecclesiastical
the
authority
from the
uses
pulpit.
social pressures.
Social pressure
That's
to
not
make your
force.
wife fuck your husband.
No, you're not
So
making them
that's-
do anything.
Okay, to encourage them to fuck their
Yeah.
husband. Okay, this
Don't you encourage people's wives to fuck them?
I don't need to be in their bedrooms that much.
Yeah, I
can't
mean, if
force her to
somebody,
do
if a,
anything.
wo- if
Listen, I
somebody
can't
called
force
you,
a woman to do
if a
very
woman
much.
called you and said, "I don't sleep with my husband. He seems angry at me," would you encourage her to sleep with him?
I wouldn't encourage her to do anything, especially with
You
me.
wouldn't
I don't
encourage
mess
her
with
to do
I don't mess with married women. That's their
Brilliant.
business.
So your
that's their-
solution
that's
is
their-
fucking nothing. Nothing.
My solution is very clear.
What is it?
You're telling me at this
Yeah.
particular point that you're going to enforce
You see, he said, my solution's very clear, but I'm not going to tell you, but I'm going to tell you what you're telling me.
through social pressure. Social pressure.
That's not
Hold on for a
force.
second. Social
There's no
pressure
enforcement.
enforces social pressure.
Remember, he said, my solution's very clear, yet he's never offered one solution. It's clear that you don't have one.
Pressure enforces women to be very promiscuous at this particular point.
Uh-huh.
Now, you're talking about 7% of the population or better, maybe 10, that are going to fall under this category. And this is going to lead a wave of women sleeping with their husband through social pressures when social pressure quite tells them the opposite. Let me
I don't even know what the hell you're talking about at this point.
Exactly. It's very difficult. I know.
It
It's
is
very
very
difficult for
difficult.
you. I know exactly. And very nice tactic. But listen,
I don't understand what he's talking about either. He said, my solution's very clear. Did he not say this and not offer a solution, which isn't very clear?
It's not a tactic. I'm trying my hardest
you're,
to understand.
You're taking a very small scenario to
Yeah.
make it the large scenario. When I'm telling you the larger scenario is the reality, and you're telling me
Both
if
are reality.
I do this, if I do that.
No,
This is
so
a
are
very
you.
small percentage.
You're doing the same
I'm
thing.
telling you about
if
what's
you get
happening.
married, you may get a
No, I
divorce.
said
you
when.
may, if this happens, then this may happen.
We already looked at the statistics of it likely happening.
Yeah,
so that is likely to happen.
First of all, even the
Can
statistics
you pull up
looked
the
at,
statistics again?
pull up
The
the
marriage
statistics
statistics, the
for the
divorces.
Christians. It's
No.
actually not likely, is
Overall
it?
in the United States. Overall in the United States.
Yeah,
So it only in order for it to work, you have to be white.
You need to break
Make a
this
certain
down by
income.
demographics.
Hold on for a second.
No, this is stupid. We have Black Orthodox Christians, Hispanic Orthodox Christians with a 9% divorce rate. If you're looking at my stats or even your stats, let's go with your stats. 17%. This is crazy. Now he's using he's going to pull the race card. So stupid. You have to be white to have a longer marriage. Is that what you're saying? This is ridiculous.
You want me to break it down?
So
and social
so you want to go.
economics.
You want to go. In order for your marriage to work, they have to be white, Christian.
They don't have to be white.
Make money,
No.
and then also probably live
Yeah, they don't have to be white. That's what I said. This is
in
crazy.
a certain region.
If it's the
Now,
case,
what if that's
that-
not
yeah.
the case? Because
Yeah.
in the United States, I don't know where you live, but in the caves
Then
and
we
hills
use the
of the United-
apparatuses.
If you take the rest of the United States, they're highly not that. That is outside of those demographics.
And don't
So
you want
what
to
if
change
they're
that?
What if they're outside of that?
Don't
What
you
if they're
wanna-
not white
don't-
and Christian?
don't you wanna
What if
change
they're
that?
not Christian to make 100K? What do you suggest then?
Yeah, so here's what I would suggest. If it's the case that in the black community, you have more divorces than in the white community, there's going to be contributing factors for why that is. I don't think that like black people are just ontologically different than white people. Do you? Do you just believe like that at their core, they're just ontologically different? Or do you think that they're the same? Because if that's the case, if we're equal people and equal people groups, then there must be some other social factors which are relating to this that increase.
You see how this moderator's not doing anything? Like I guarantee you, maybe he's not even watching the debate. I don't know what he's doing right now, but his eyes aren't on the two people. His eyes are on the screen. Hopefully, maybe when he's looking at the screen, he's seeing a video of these two people. I don't know, but he was absent throughout 98% of this debate. Maybe he's uttered 2 words. This is crazy.
The divorce rate in the black community that doesn't exist yet in the white community. If that's the case, we would specifically target those issues to prevent that from happening, right? We're going to do this
What
across.
is it?
We're going to do this across the board. Well,
Okay, what would they be?
For the black community, there's a bunch. One, you have a distinction in economic certitude. The second one is you got a massive abortion rate, which is super problematic. Another one is you use matriarchal structures in the family home instead of patriarchal. Huge issue that you have. By the way, when it was Christian-based, didn't happen. It was a patriarchal structure inside those black homes. And boy,
Yeah, he's bringing up this whole point is that blacks have actually been bought and sold by their own accord. They've accepted handouts and government handouts, and they've literally chosen money over patriarchy when it comes to taking EBT handouts, using the system to rely on. Dads have been kicked out of the home and evacuated. That's why I think the EBT cutoff thing is a good thing. If we cut off EBT, now black women have to rely on black men instead of big daddy government. Now daddies can enter the home. This has been co-opted by black people by their own hand. I don't know what more I have to speak on this. Black culture is eating itself alive at the hands of this EBT apocalypse and destroying marriage. So I think that if we do do cut off food stamps and all these other things by people taking advantage of it. Matter of fact, next week I'm going to cover this, and I have a special guest that's going to be on my platform, and this is going to be fantastic as we go down to one of the solutions for marriage on my behalf as well too.
They didn't put up with shit. Not the case anymore. So you have multiple factors here which need to be addressed. I agree with that. Nobody ever disagreed with that, though. What we're trying to do is look at the mitigation of risk, and even for the black community,
We handled that already.
if the black community moves in to these conventionally traditional churches, they still will have the same ecclesiastical authority, which will assist them in governing their marriage that white people would have, and it would still assist with the mitigation of risk. What's the alternative? It's just degeneracy, right? The alternative is just like, well, just hump them and never get married. Well, what good does that do for blacks? What good does that do? It just leads to more abortion. It just leads to more degeneracy. It leads to high crime rates, and the single motherhood's out of control. So, like, what are you doing to prevent any of that? Nothing. Nothing. Tell me what? What?
Okay, thank you. You said things that people have known for the past 45 years,
You
but I
didn't answer the
appreciate that.
question.
Hold on for a second. Thank you for contributing to a common conversation that people know, but you offer no other solution. That's great.
Even
Now,
I
here's
did.
a problem. Here's a problem with this.
Mhm.
It's an if scenario. That would be great if we can go back to this. It would be great if we can go back and look at and say that blacks, when they were in the 40s and 50s, they had more stable relationships and marriages than even white folks. Here's the issue.
Okay.
Why stop at the 40s? Let's talk about 1863.
Okay.
Your tradition seems to always hit this point of 1940s where you shine this light of traditionalism that you've never lived in, that seems to be in a snapshot of something that you don't even know about. Then when I fast
You're not
forward
even saying anything, dude.
again, you're not listening. When I fast forward to 1970, when it falls all apart with no fault divorce, based on what I've been arguing, what happens? All that traditionalism falls apart. Why don't we take it further? Why don't we take it back to bride prices? I mean, how far in tradition you're going to go? You're only going to bang your head around 1940 and 50 because you watched a couple of movies and I Love Lucy episode?
No, he brought up examples of we're talking about examples of, the people that live in fields don't use a lot of electricity. What are they called again? We already discussed this. The people with traditions that are upheld, 2,000 years of orthodoxy unchanged, Catholicism that has a longer tradition of like marital structure. It's harder to get divorced in these systems. So it's like he brought all this, but then he's calling this imaginary, as if Catholicism, all these other traditional events that we've had as far as like Orthodox Church and all this doesn't even exist. This is crazy.
That's not tradition.
Okay.
That was a snapshot in history that you're trying to achieve again.
So
Take it back further. There's
Okay.
no marriages in the
Fine.
black community.
let's say we'll
Okay.
take it. Let's say we take it all the way back to the 1700s. Let's just say, just for the sake of it, right? And that I'm totally wrong about all this, just for the sake of argument. Let's just say, what is your prescription to deal with any of those issues when you're telling men in the black community to not get married? How is that going to assist with abortion? How's that going to assist with strong fathers in the home? How's that going to assist with the only demographic population which can't reproduce itself? How? Can you give me a single prescription to any of that?
Let me tell you something. I agree with you on this.
I just want a prescription,
Here's
dude.
the problem. I agree with you. And listen, if you had any ability to provide this prescription better than Louis Farrakhan or Martin Luther King,
that mean
or
no?
give me a second. Listen to me.
Mhm.
These men have tried to pretty much heal this issue, and they haven't.
No, they
so
didn't.
Andrew Wilson certainly not to. Neither will CGA. So I don't have a prescription
That's
for the black
right.
community because
That's
the
right.
black community is pretty much doomed at this particular
Uh-huh.
point. They have too much degeneracy. They have single mother rates at the
It's
70 and
just
80%.
black
But I'm going to
pill
tell you
bullshit.
something. You want to come in here and tell me something about ecclesiastics?
Yeah, coincidentally, a black guy with a black bald head giving black pill bullshit for sure. This is crazy.
You're telling me about the reality of the black community, how to fix it. Nobody's been able to fix that community. So there's nothing you can do, and I can't
Look.
offer any solution for that.
Look,
Now,
is
at
that-
that particular
yeah.
point, you're saying the risk is higher. It certainly will be higher under those matriarchal conditions. So you get no argument from me there. So at that point, where's your statistics lie then?
Well,
Where's
so
your solution
I'll
then?
tell you again. So I'm glad
He's
that
going to solve the community problems here. I'd love to hear
didn't
this.
say. Listen again. I'm not saying
The black
that-
community problem
Yeah,
solved
yeah.
by Andrew Wilson.
That says the guy who literally
I
just
would
got
love to
done
hear this.
saying,
I
I
would
have
love to hear
zero prescriptions.
Because nobody does.
Yeah,
That
well, here's
community
the
is here.
thing.
But I would love to hear
Here's
the
the
black
thing.
community solved by Andrew Wilson.
He said nobody does, when we've literally talked about this the solving issue of 17% if we're going by his metric, 9% if we're going by mine, or orthodoxy. If blacks convert to orthodoxy, guess what's going to happen? Patriarchal structure, marriage lasts longer than your bullshit. You don't have any solutions or any prescriptions. As usual, this is crazy. He's saying nothing.
Yeah, so let me tell you a bunch of things that can be done which will help mitigate these
Please
issues.
Please
the
do.
first is
that you can accomplish,
yeah,
not some pipe dream.
That can be accomplished.
No, you can't accomplish this. What the this is? I'm so fatigued from this conversation.
Here we go.
That can be accomplished politically and already are beginning to be accomplished politically. The first is you have to outlaw abortion. You have to. It has to be outlawed. And not by state where you can just go to the next state and do another abortion, right? One of the biggest problems with promiscuity in the black community is that they use abortion as a form of birth control. Same problem that you see in the white community, by the way. It's just more prevalent in the black community. The next problem that you have there is the lack of religiosity, where there used to be a really strong core religion.
Appreciate it. 5 from Relentless RG, my ruthless ironclad, ruling with the Iron Fist mod. Greg, no answer. Adam's IQ score. Yes, for sure. The non-existent IQ score, I would say that too. I think even saying 80% or 90% IQ is being too charitable for this guy. I think it's probably like low 30s, 25. What say you?
Just base of based black men. And they were patriarchal, very patriarchal. And the thing is that it's the idea of these feminist bra-burning lunatics that told black women not to be under the evil patriarchy of their men. And yet, at this point, the men are rolling over and allowing the matriarchy to take over in their own community. Is a return to traditional church ethics going to assist that? Of course it will. Of course it will. How do I know? Because it did then, just a few short years ago. I'm not talking about hundreds of years ago. I'm talking about 60 years ago. By the way, there's other things that you can do too. Getting rid of EBT, getting rid of social programs which are designed to keep people dependent.
Yes, this is my prescription. I've said this before, even before I've even heard this debate. We should get rid of all the dependency on black culture from the system. This is going to build bridges back to the black family where we once had this, where black families were one of the strongest in the nation, intact immediately after slavery. Black families were probably the most marriageable in the United States during this. But ever since then, blacks went ahead and traded father figures for Uncle Sam independency during this time. That's a solution to the problem Greg Adams will definitely ignore.
These are all things which can be politically accomplished. Just like abortion, the starting of banning that was politically accomplished in our lifetime. And the thing is like, you have no prescriptions. Fuck, at least I'm trying here, man.
Man, Andrew,
none.
You are Captain Obvious. This is the
well,
obvious
then why didn't
prescription.
why didn't you obviously state it as a prescription?
Because people have exhausted the means to be able to do this.
No, we're exhausted and fatigued by your rhetoric, sir.
Trust me, there have been people way better than you that dress better than you and shave their beard better than you that can do this, and they haven't.
I don't know, because according to TikTok, Andrew Wilson's got the most silky smooth voice over anybody else's voice, by the way. Better than your voice. And actually, his beard is actually more masculine, patriotic than his, because obviously his looks have kept the marriage in a traditional foundation, whereas you, non-existent wife-having ass household, no prescriptions. We could see one person on the table has held his foundation of a prescription and a nuclear family much longer than yours, which is non-existent. So yeah, one walks the lifestyle and shows this as evident in his nature. The other, yeah, black culture, degeneracy, all this other shit backed by nothing.
Been able to accomplish it. You have the Democratic Party that is highly influential. 92% of black women voted for Democrats. That's also possibly where most of those women go to church. Most of black churches are overwhelmingly women. It's a woman's club. And you're telling me about something completely obvious that everybody has pointed out for 25 years. You're not giving me anything new. This is a completely obvious scenario. And you believe that you've enlightened me over here and you're waiting for me to give you a solution. Let me tell you something.
Not about changing your mind.
You certainly would never do that. Now, at this particular point here, the unsettling experience that men experience in divorce, all right, you're saying you're just going to mitigate it or eradicate it. What about the small percentage of men that experience it and go through issues like high levels of self-deletion, high levels of them not being able to recover financially ever, this They're still going to experience this under your scenario.
Yes.
This doesn't disappear.
It'll
What
never
prescription do you have for those men that went to your marriage
Yeah.
and they got divorced 33%? What do you do
Well,
with
no, it's
these
not
men?
33% by
Okay,
tradition.
20%, 30%. It still was at a high rate.
I think it would
What
even be
prescription
lower than that.
you would hope so. You would hope so. But hope is not a strategy. What
Yeah.
hold on for a second. What
Okay.
what scenario do
Uh-huh.
you have for men that you led into the burning building when they experience separation from their children, parental alienation, high levels of self-deletion?
Yeah.
What prescription do you have, sir, that you sold?
Yeah,
Have
that's a
all
great
you
question.
have all the answers. Please enlighten us.
Yeah,
What
so-
you're going to do with these men?
so-
Are you going to enforce them to have sex
Yeah,
with
yeah.
other virgins that
I'll
you have on
answer.
the sideline?
I'll answer the question,
Please
but I
do.
want to make a deal with you that if I answer this last question of yours, that you'll actually answer when I ask you after that. Is that a
Listen, we're
deal?
not in a court of law. I don't have to answer anything. I can state something.
Yeah, I know,
and
but
then
I'm
we can
asking
go
if we-
back.
I'm a proud black woman over here. This is crazy. This rhetoric. I don't have to answer anything. This is straight feminism cosplaying as a man right now. This is insane.
can make a
for it.
deal that if I
I'll
answer this
consider
question, you'll answer
answering
my
the
next
question
one.
that you asked me. I'll
So
consider
we're not
it.
going to make a deal on that?
I don't have to make a deal. Listen,
You don't
I'll
have to.
consider
I'm asking if
answering
you will.
something. Possibly. So go ahead.
Possible? Okay, well
Possible.
then I possibly will hold the debate hostage until you possibly make a deal with
All right,
me.
great. So that gives me the floor.
So we'll just sit here and
They
stare
give
at
me
each
the floor.
other, or we
Well,
just
here's the deal.
filibuster each other. Like
At this particular point,
so
you don't want to.
so
so
I can
you
answer.
want to answer it. You want to
Yeah,
answer it.
but
I
you're
know
not going to.
answer
But you're
it.
not going to answer mine. I just want that clear. You're not going to answer mine after. You're just going to filibuster and
answered the
stonewall
question.
again.
I ask you the question. Put it on
Yeah.
the table.
So this is pretty simple, right? What you're proposing here. Every policy prescription which is made anywhere in any nation, with any people group, from the tribal all the way to the national level, is going to be a trade-off, no matter what. There's always going to be some people who are disaffected by it in some small percentage, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it. We don't run societies based on outliers. The second thing is, when it comes to suicide in men, particularly, one of the best ways to mitigate that is to begin the process of eliminating deployment of troops abroad. Because one of the biggest contributing factors to male suicide, including in marriage with divorce, is their veteran status. And it's because they really depend on their family to assist them with what's going on mentally from the fact they've been deployed in these wars. And one thing you could really do that would help that's what the American First policy is we want to bring troops home, no more foreign wars.
Chat, I'm actually going to go over this part real quick and skip this a little bit because they talk about self-deletion and they actually use one of the words that I don't want my channel to be, I wouldn't say dox, but kind of like dinged for. I'm going to skip this because they go over the real word for self-deletion that I wouldn't want to use on my channel. We're going to skip to this part right here where Greg Adams, obviously, I don't want to comment on the image right now, but is looking stereotypically like the usual suspects. And we will resume it from here.
You can file a lawsuit for anything.
So then it's
So
not a
anybody
divorce.
can sue you for anything.
Yeah, okay,
Okay.
but-
So if you go into there and she
So they're just
says that-
suing you?
yes, it's
Okay,
a
but
lawsuit.
that's not a divorce. Come on,
says-
dude.
It's a lawsuit.
Can we pull this up? Can you file for a divorce without getting married? Divorce is a legal process that ends in legally recognized marriage.
If you never obtained a marriage license and your marriage was never registered, summarized according to the state law, the courts have no marriage to dissolve. You're full of
Hold
shit.
on.
You can't file for a divorce from somebody you were never legally married to, which means that if you have a religious marriage, Coach L is back at it again.
Hey,
For a
you're just
second,
saying
hold
that
on.
they can. Yeah,
no,
you're
no.
full of shit.
Listen,
they can just
they
sue
have-
you for whatever.
You said they have no marriage to the.
Yeah,
to
you're
dissolve.
saying that
You
they're just
still
going to
have
sue
re-
you.
No. You still have
Come
to.
on.
You still have to respond to the lawsuit.
Yeah, but you don't have to go to the divorce court, dude.
You do.
No,
That's
you
where
don't.
You file the response.
No,
you still have
that's
to
not
go.
a divorce court.
Yeah, that's crazy. Greg Adams with the reach. Again.
That is the divorce
No,
court.
it's not. It's a
That
court
is
of.
the
It's
divorce court.
it's the
Listen.
circuit court or some
Let-
shit, not the divorce court.
Listen, this is.
You got
this
caught in 4K.
That's,
You're
that's
full of shit.
ChatGPT. That's ChatGPT.
You're
In
full
this
of it,
situation here, we can bring a lawyer in to
Bring
resolve
him.
this and say, can she file for a divorce? You're saying what the
No.
outcome is. Hold on for a second.
This guy's moving
You're
the
saying
goalposts like
outcome. They
crazy.
can't legally enforce it. That's what you hope the outcome is. You hope the outcome is.
You're-
You still have
Dude,
to respond.
all you're saying is that a woman can sue you for anything.
Correct.
Yeah, but that's not the same as filing for divorce
Hold on
through
for a
the
second.
divorce
That would-
courts,
that's
dude.
where they would file it.
No,
would
they
file it
can't.
in-
No, they're not filing it in the divorce court.
My gosh. All right. That's where they would file it. In the divorce court.
they
That's
would
where they
file
would file
a
it there.
lawsuit.
No, this guy's an idiot. So did you catch what just happened right now? They're not legally married, but the guy's going to sue in divorce court. How can you have a divorce court if you weren't legally married? If you're married by the church and you have a covenant, guess what happens? It's not going to a state-sanctioned divorce court. This doesn't make any sense. Greg is saying that you're going to be sued in a divorce court when really, I don't know, this guy, the brain cells in me are being eradicated right now just listening to his non-logical arguments.
No, they would file it in the family court. Trust me. Now, here's
The
the
family
thing.
court's
Hold on
different,
for a
though.
That's the divorce.
Yeah, oh God, this is crazy. This guy isn't giving us the distinction right now. He's conflating everything together when it's not making any sense.
Wait a second.
Family court is a divorce court.
Wouldn't you have to do that under specific criteria for family court, like a kid's involved or something? You can just
Correct. So, in the
Come
scenario,
on,
hold on for a
dude,
second.
That's not the same
Hold
as
on, hold on,
divorce
hold on for a second.
proceedings. This is
I
ridiculous.
mean,
That's ridiculous.
Listen. The family court is what people call the divorce court. There's no building that
Yeah,
says
I agree
divorce
with
court.
that.
You understand that?
Yeah, I agree with that.
So you have a woman with children
Yeah,
that you say you're not married to. If she files,
yeah,
you still have to go under family court jurisdiction.
Yeah.
You still have to respond
because there's children. Yes,
because there's children.
Yeah.
At that point, my point is made. She
Yeah.
has filed. They may say the divorce doesn't count.
Yeah.
But now, how do we deal with these children?
Yeah, but that was
those
never-
children. That is a part of marriage. Did you not have children with the woman?
Come on, dude. So if you're not,
That
if
is
you-
a part of
so as long as
marriage.
you don't have children, then they can't do that.
Correct. That's what you're saying. But you're saying
No,
you're
I'm
gonna have
asking.
children.
I'm actually asking.
You're saying they're going to have children, correct?
Yes,
You're going to go to family court
yes, you could go to family court.
if
Yes,
she files for the divorce.
not for divorce. They could go for
If
like
she
motions
files
for
for child
support or all
support,
sorts of
any
things.
of these-
That's
that
not
is the family
divorce.
court.
Yeah.
When we talk about what men deal with when they deal with marriage and the result is a divorce, one of the things they deal with is child support, also domestic violence, which falls under the family court. So you cannot be married. Oh
you
my
have
God.
you have a problem here with this.
Listen.
so
that
I
can
agree.
fall under
I
the
agree
family
that
court.
if you have children, that could go through the family court system.
Correct.
Nobody ever disputed that,
Okay.
though.
So you're still dealing with issues,
but
right?
hang on. But that's the different one. That's different than filing for divorce. You can't file for divorce if you're never married. That's
Now
one.
you're going to
And
child
two,
support. Yes.
and hang on. Two, the second problem here is the reason that men usually lose their custody when it comes to divorce and divorce court is because women plot. They plot escape hatches. So what they do is they go, okay,
Of course they do.
look, I'm going to take 2 years, make sure that you're fucking destitute on the way out, and then I'm filing in divorce court.
Correct.
You're going to get hit over the head from what happens in divorce court. Whole
Absolutely.
different ball game, though. If it's the case that you have children with a woman, and she goes and she files for custody, you're actually in a much better position to get custody at that
Correct.
point than if it was the case that you were married through the state, dude. Much better
Well,
positioned.
We don't know.
Correct.
That.
No,
That's-
no,
that's-
100%
for a second.
that's
You
the
don't.
case.
You don't know that. You're guessing. Can
No,
you give me some
yeah,
data
there
on that
is
one?
actually
Or
data.
there's data on
Yeah,
that
yeah.
one. Okay, go ahead and look it up. But we don't know that.
Yes,
That's just
if
a guess.
it's the case, hang on. If it's the case,
If you're not
because
legally
that
married.
men who fight for custody,
Correct.
right?
Yes, that's correct.
But they're in a better position to fight for custody if they're not going through the divorce court, if they're only getting motions for child support or
Well, we
child
know
custody.
actually I'll tell you something. If you are not married to them, you actually fare a little bit worse. If you're not legally married. That's true. If you're not legally married to, let's just take a baby mom, baby dad situation. If he's not legally married to them, they typically fare a
Yeah, these people we call them playing house. They're not. I mean, that's the thing, though. If you aren't married in a covenant relationship or in a church scenario where you have what we would call a covenant, we recognize that a little bit differently from state marriage. So Andrew's giving a prescription the whole time. This model includes shame. It includes communal sense of community support. They have a community with traditional functions. People are actually putting stigma on, things that are positive, leaving, being a spinster, all these things. Stigma is being put back into situations where traditional orderly conduct as far as marital support, all this is supported, which is a prescription that we could say is a solution as well too. Greg Adams has nothing. All he has is a construct of this is all a disaster and praising divorce, but never offering a solution at the same time. So his argument is actually divorce bad, but he actually says marriage is good, which is insane. He's just arguing for divorce, not marriage at the same time. None of this really is coherent, makes sense.
little bit worse.
Yes.
In custody cases.
I just said that.
Right, correct.
Yeah.
So at that point, they're still faring worse. If
No,
they're
they're
married,
faring better. right?
If they're not married.
Yes.
Correct. It wouldn't be a divorce if you're not married for the state. Wakamoto's definitely right about this. And Coach Greg Adams cannot process this with his 3 brain cells. This is just insane.
They'd be
Their
faring
baby
better.
no, they would actually fare worse.
How?
Well, ask any guy that's been in court. We can look at this.
Yeah.
When they're not legally married to
Yeah.
a woman, they go through a custody battle.
Yeah.
When they're legally married, they do better getting better custody.
Yes, men get better custody.
When
So
they're
that would be a
legally
better
married.
outcome.
If they're not legally married,
Yes.
typically they fare worse getting custody
Why?
because they're not married to the woman. This is typically it just depends on jurisdiction.
It's because of the
It's-
unplanned nature of it.
Correct.
it's
Exactly.
planned- but if it's
planned, we don't know.
No, we do know,
The judge
actually.
doesn't know.
Hang on.
How do they know?
We do.
So now you're saying
Nope.
you're going in there
Hang
to
on, hang
use that we're not legally married, but we're married.
Here's how we can logically, I think I can actually logically demonstrate this, and I think you'll agree. Okay. So the reason that men tend to fare bad in custody disputes and in divorces is because it's unexpected. So usually they're getting hit with it and it's unexpected. Even if it should be expected, because it's unexpected, they have time to plot, they have time to plan, this kind of thing.
Domestic
right?
violence
And so they
issues.
can
Correct.
hit them with it.
Right.
Right. That's
That's normally what happens.
that's
You
normally
can't mitigate that.
You-
or are you suggesting you
can
Okay.
mitigate. You can mitigate it. Here's how you can mitigate it. If you're in a church, you have
52 things. Go ahead.
Yeah, if you have the if you have the ecclesiology, the ecclesiastic community, the community actually supports you when you're going through these problems of
They're not going
divorce.
to be in
True.
court with you.
No, they actually help you with funding. They help you with
They're
everything.
not going to be in
Yes.
court with you. They're not going to be.
They
in
don't
court
need
with
to
you.
go
They
to
don't have
court
the-
with you.
So you're
Money
gonna
is
be-
what talks, man, and bullshit walks.
Exactly. I agree with that. That I can agree with.
Yeah.
But they're not going to be able to fund
Well,
that.
they do all the time.
Listen,
They
all right,
assist
the
them with custody
125
agreements all the
These
time.
small marriages.
Correct.
I'd love to see these out. They should do a documentary on them.
They do.
All right, so we can see.
We
them.
do have stats
But
on this.
most people aren't under these, so we can say that's clearly the case.
But
In those
so what?
situations here,
So
under those
what, though?
situations, you have men that
Mhm.
are not under this veil of, I don't know what it is, okay, that do fare worse when they're not married. Okay, that's typically what's going to happen.
Because the childbirth itself is unplanned. But if they're with a woman long term
Yes.
as a partner, they actually do better.
Absolutely, and I was
even
one of
if they're
those,
not
and I was
married.
one of those.
Even if they're not married.
Typically,
Typically, yes.
That's but sometimes
So it's still
not
better
the
outcomes.
situation.
You're just talking about the unplanned nature.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
I mean,
there
mostly,
there
though.
have been, because there's a lot of factors here. I mean, we can make things black or white. The guy doesn't have the ability to maintain the custody. He lives in another
Yes,
city.
because
there's
some
so many
plans.
other factors.
Because
There's
some
so
plans. I
many
knocked
other
her
factors.
up. That's
No,
different than I was
Well,
with her
they
for
were
a
in
couple
a
of years.
relationship. They were in a relationship. All right.
Yeah,
but
but knocking her up usually happens early.
it could. It typically does.
It
because
typically
that's where
does.
men. And
Yep.
at that point, now they were raising the kid for 2
Yep.
or 3 years. They were together.
But this goes
and
to
then
my
it
point.
happens. But it also goes to my point. In this situation here, right here, we have a lot of things that we like to make black or white and easily solve.
No, that's all nuanced. I agree.
Okay, very much nuanced.
Yeah.
At that point, then you're just telling us, "Oh, I'll just throw this aspect of religion on top of it, and it'll fix it, or it'll mitigate. It'll mitigate it. It'll
Yes,
mitigate it.
mitigate.
It doesn't eliminate it. It
Yeah,
just
but
makes it less.
you-
You're not can't eliminate it.
But
It just
even
makes it less
okay,
likely. But they're still going to
but
go
even
through
if
it.
it-
Once they go through it, what do you do?
But when you said America or a marriage was a great institution, right?
It
Did that
was.
eliminate all divorce?
It was very low.
Well,
about
right,
7 to
right. So
10%.
it's just you're only
Like,
talking
it
about
was actually
mitigation.
lower.
You're
It
only
was
talking about
It
mitigation.
was actually lower than the percentages that you're showing me.
I agree.
Way lower.
I agree.
Way lower.
But you're still talking about mitigation.
But we also talking about white people were least likely to get married under these scenarios.
So that's the thing, though. He's bringing it back to race, and then Andrew's saying mitigation, meaning solution. Greg Adams doesn't have a solution at all. He goes on this diatribe about, hey, divorce bad. So the only argument he has is divorce bad. Andrew Wilson says, hey, mitigation, solution. Not only can I mitigate the problems that we're talking about as far as your red pill dilemmas that you're dealing with, and that's all you can offer, we're giving a solution. This is a gateway to actually having a good marriage, a long-lasting marriage with kids functioning. And it isn't just about kids. It's about, having a structure that we want on not only for our kids to follow, but also something with Christ in it as well, too. Of course, not everybody wants to submit to Christ, but I think that this is better. If you want a marriage, like, guess what's going to happen? I hate to tell you this, but if you have God in your household and God and Christian ethics in your household, guess what's going to happen? You're going to have better outcomes, because I guarantee if you run to secular society, you guys have nothing. There really isn't anything. You're literally seeing the dichotomy that is provided here too. We have a distinction: Christian ethics, We have solutions, everything else. On Greg Adams' societal function of I would say the free agent lifestyle, there's nothing. All he has is doom, gloom, and black pill and black culture. That's all he has.
Yeah, but we're still talking about mitigation.
Exactly.
And so if you say it's great and it's mitigating, and I say, okay, I want to move towards mitigation, we can never eliminate it. You can't hold that against me.
I can't, and you can't hold it against me for telling men to avoid the situation, especially since, and I'll add this on, especially since we can know statistically women are getting married at an older age. That is increasingly high. We can look at 40 years ago, it was 20 years old. We can look at today, it's roughly around 28 and 30.
But there's some nuance there too. And
there's a lot of nuance
well,
there.
Hang on.
Hold on for a second, but I was completing a point here. Okay. At that point, you're seeing a lot of women choosing to not marry. You're also seeing a lot of men choosing to not marry those women that are older.
Yeah.
So how do you get those people to have an ecclesiastic marriage?
I'll help you.
When you're telling them, these people are saying, I'm not marrying that woman.
Yep.
She's a stepmom, or so no, she's a single mom.
Yep, I
she's
understand.
older.
Yep.
She's past her prime. How are you getting that marriage rate up?
This is the
with
best.
The ecclesiastic
so
marriage?
I think that's a great question.
Yeah, it's a great question. Andrew Wilson's going to slam dunk and knock this out of the park as usual.
Other than saying that they got to be virgins.
And it's one that I need, and it's one that I do need to answer to. So here's the answer to this. The reason that women are getting married older is because they're deferring their childbearing years for college. That's why.
That's obvious. Okay.
I mean, literally, that's
Sure.
the only reason. And one of the prime reasons that the birth rate is collapsing is because they're having children older because they
Matter of fact, Ken brings up a good thing. White people, does he have a problem with white people? No, I think that right now it's like when people are losing the argument in black culture, we tend to play the race card. And when I say we, I'm a part of black culture. So when people see me, they're like, oh, you black people, of course. When we talk about black culture, I'm talking about us as like a majority, not good, to be honest with you. Whenever I see a black neighborhood, I tend to move away from this. It's just bad. He plays the race card a lot, and this is indicative of a lot of black culture. I mean, he's not obviously omitted from the whole picture when it comes to these things, because it's like, if you're losing, you're going to pull the race card. What is he doing right now? Pulling the race card as usual. I can see this a mile away, and that's what he's doing right now. It's just really stupid. He has no argument.
For those childbearing years,
like I said, that's not fruitful and multiply. That's just adding.
So we can look at this, and we can. Well, it is still multiplying.
Okay,
but
all right,
anyway,
yeah.
The point is when we're talking about, we go back to this whole propaganda thing, right?
You're not going to get a disagreement on this.
Hang on. The idea is, should we have propaganda that says, women, you go to school, we'll give you student loans, right? We'll back the entire thing for free, and we promise you a lucrative STEM career, right? When the opposition is actually true. Or do we run campaigns that say, no STEM funding, you got to pay for your own fucking college, okay? Or you can choose the more traditional path.
How likely is this to happen?
It's actually pretty likely. If you look at the idea of STEM funding for college, right? The idea of student loans and things like this, women are already trying to check out in the worst way because they can't have kids later in life.
But they're not getting married though.
They do. They just do that. They do college
married.
First. And this is, by the way, where the body count comes from. The big body counts are coming because they spend all this time in college getting fucked.
Very
right?
obviously.
And
this is obvious.
Yes. And then afterwards, right, they get their little lucrative career, and then they want to settle down.
They find a
But it seems to me very obvious that if you wanted to do something about this, you would want to create the incentive for women to not go to college and instead use their childbearing years to get married, because that's what we always did.
I've actually created this scenario before, and it's very opposed to where society's going. Society's really not showing that they're showing trends of this. You might have those little spatters here and there, but
Right, because he doesn't offer a Christian ethical solution. Whenever he uses this, but then he takes God and Christ from the equation, guess what's going to happen? Yeah, it's not going where society isn't going where we need it to go, because he's taking Christ from the equation, whereas Andrew Wilson implies like, hey, we have a Christian ethical system. Not only this, we have 2,000 years of something that's worked repeatedly, time and time again. When you have a Christian ethical system, it's bound to work. The problem with this is feminism, which is on Greg's side, doesn't work because they've taken Christ out of the home and God, Sky Daddy, according to him, out of the home. And guess what happens? He'll never have a solution. They don't have prescription for society, whereas Andrew Wilson on his side, he does.
But if you have a woman that says, okay, I can't afford to go to college, she becomes a Walmart
clerk.
Hold on for a second. She becomes a Walmart clerk, an assistant manager. I'm looking at those particular demographics. They're not jumping into marriages. All right, maybe in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, they're still out here ho-hopping. All right, they're still finding a variety.
But here's why. So women are getting they're getting more college degrees than men because men have a viable option for making income, which is easy.
Correct.
I mean, it's actually harder,
It's harder.
but it's easy, and for them,
We can survive.
And the
yes.
idea is, if you're a tradesman, you're gonna make a lot of money. Okay, especially in modernity, because there's an incompetency crisis in the.
And to be honest, yes, there is a competency crisis right now. I'll even tell you guys right now, I'm going through school right now to be a diesel tech. Diesel techs make bank. I mean, if you don't know, ask somebody. We definitely make bank, and diesel techs are definitely up and coming in America. There's a great need for them right now. This is why I got terminated. I'll say this right now. I got terminated from my last job, which was a certain agency. I don't want to put them on blast right now, but because of my political ideals, my political opinions, our district director worked for DA and was lesbian. So speaking of which, yeah, that's why I'm in this school right now, in this trade school. And yeah, it's been kind of rough having to get through school. And I'm not going to go into that right now, but yeah, at the end of this, it's going to be a big fat W for me. I'll be able to support a family even better right now than I can. And on the other end, Christ is God. I'll just say that. Glory to God that I am choosing this route right now. And I'm not going to be terminated from just talking to machines about my political beliefs and ideals. And I'm not representing an agency that could just terminate me, because my trade will definitely be in demand at all times. And guess what? I'm more marriageable than I was when I was working for the agency. But moving forward with this, Andrew Wilson's point.
United States.
Absolutely.
So if you're good at what you do, you're going to make a lot of money.
And
That's just it.
Women are less
And
likely
even
to
if
go in
you're
those
bad at it, you'll make a lot of money. But the college thing created a situation we were not aware was going to happen, even though I could easily have predicted it, which is oversaturation. Women only go for a couple things, and they're sociological related mostly. They're not
Nursing.
really for STEM fields, and that's who's hiring is the big STEM fields. Everything else oversaturated. That's why women end up in government NGOs and government think tanks and
Correct.
psychologists, because the overage has to go somewhere. But that's saturated too. So you're seeing actually a trend.
Yeah, a diesel tech or a diesel mechanic. So, you know, it's a good trade.
To begin to emerge of that trending down because of oversaturation. So if that's the case, these women don't want to go work at Walmart as the assistant manager, right? And if you had said propaganda plan, and the propaganda plan is simple enough, the idea here is just don't defer your childbearing years for college. Instead, we'll help you with incentives so that you have children younger.
That agency that I work for, where the woman worked for the DA and was our district director, is definitely putting off people towards childbearing years and all this other stuff, and delaying that and going for artificial in vitro insemination and all this other stuff, where it's rife with, actually, you're talking about and not only like you're talking about disfigurement, autism rates, dysfunction, things like this. It's just rife with abuse as far as like just all this harm. It's just bad. Even the person that came out with all this other stuff when it came to vitro said that this is just a failing system regardless.
You get married younger. You will almost eliminate this entire problem. And yes, not only is
I
it
agree.
viable, not only is it viable, but
this-
we should be moving towards that. This idea that we shouldn't get married rather than just create the conditions for which marriage is great is exactly what we should be doing.
And under those conditions, it would make sense, because you're getting women that can multiply, that can
But
be.
it's only the churches that could get
Hold on for a
this
second.
done.
No, not really. But in this situation
Show me
here,
anybody
I
else who
agree.
could.
I agree with that scenario. I proposed that many years ago. However, you're gonna be hard pressed for women to actually pick that. Although they're not going to college, they're trending down in college. They're probably not going to complete one of these liberal arts degrees. What you're probably going to see them do, they're still going to Coachella. They're still selling coochie. They're out here being sugar babies. They're going to OnlyFans.
Yeah, but this is why we need people to turn away from secularism when it comes to this antichrist agenda, all this other stuff. Of course, you know, it's Christianity's been demonized with the Ned Flanders rhetoric and all this other stuff. We need them to turn away from this. Feminism has bought and sold them a lie. It doesn't make any sense. The black community has bought and sold themselves when they talk about, oh, slavery used to have. No, you're still slaves to a system that you're dependent on. The same system that sells you food stamps and buys you this lie can feed you, right? You're being fed all the time. The same system that feeds you can also starve you. I don't understand why the black community just buys into this. It's just leading to sedation. I'll just stay home, not work hard. I don't have to do anything because Uncle Sam is my baby daddy now. Just really stupid, and it's evicted so many fathers from the home. Greg Adams represents all this that we don't want in society. Andrew Wilson, on the other hand, is giving viable solutions that works. He's pointing to all of this. Even if it's the Amish community, it works. But Greg Adams is saying, no, it's imaginary. No, this society does exist. Orthodoxy does exist. Catholicism does exist. Low marriage rates, as far as divorce is happening, does exist.
Same
Some of
problem
them
with
are
oversaturation.
Yeah,
though.
exactly. So it'll get oversaturated. Now you kick the can down the road to what the next thing is. I don't see the women seeing that college is prohibitive to them jumping into traditional marriages. I don't see that trend.
But that was the same argument which made in the 90s to men, that they would not that the trades were going by the wayside and they all needed to get a college degree, when in fact the opposite ended up happening. Now they're all moving towards trades in lieu of the college degree because of oversaturation.
Right.
There's no reason for us to believe that if it's the case that women have the option and the propaganda behind it for them to get married at a younger age, right? Defer that with incentives. We can give all sorts
What
of
type of
incentives
incentives
for
would
this.
you give for this?
Oh man, first of all, you can give tax exemptions. For instance, you could say
These women don't pay taxes even when they make millions. On
yeah,
OnlyFans.
but the thing that's
Yes, they don't catch up to them, but they don't pay the taxes.
yeah,
they're
so,
not
well,
taxpaying, yeah.
well, they do have to pay property tax on the houses they get from their husbands when they divorce them. So
If they
anyway,
get married, then
the thing is what you could do is in Poland did this, and they had a pretty good degree of success, up almost 0.5%, moving and trending towards almost 1%, which is huge in such a short amount of time. They gave tax exemption, and you can pull this up if you want. They gave tax exemption if you had more than X number of children. I think it was 3 for life. Tax
would be
exempt for
great,
life.
yes.
Now the thing is that's huge. Now, from a woman's perspective, why would a woman go for that? Because she's tax exempt for life too. And the thing is, it's the same reason they're going to college, which is they want the money. The same reason they're selling their pussy online, because I want the money, is also a thing which you can incentivize them to do the other direction.
You could.
Because
It sounds
they
nice.
want the money.
It sounds nice, but
And it's worked. It's worked.
It's worked in Poland.
Yeah.
All
Well,
right.
in the places it's been tried, the incentives work.
Is that a comparable nation to the United States who highly depends on women being taxed?
Well, so did Poland.
It's not the same size.
Well, I mean,
We were a
but
very
it's
large
all-
country.
but
We're
it's
a
all-
very large
but it's
country.
all
I mean,
scalable,
it,
right?
it could be scalable.
It's all
I mean,
scalable. The thing
that's kind
is-
of like when people said Sweden did this, and you're
Yeah,
talking about
but-
1 million people versus
but what I'm
100
saying
million
is,
people. I understand.
We're going to look at the models where they exist
It's a-
to see
it's
how
a
they
nice model.
compare.
Yeah, 'cause
and
we
it's a
could-
better model.
Yes, it's a good model. It would be a good start.
It's a start.
It would be a
It's
good start.
something.
Could you think people would probably try to manipulate that? You said they have 3
course.
kids from the same dad or from different
You have to be
daddies?
married.
You would have to be married.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this would be a nice opportunity for us to bring something that Poland has tried to a place where we don't have that same structure. There's some.
I mean, he's talking about would be nice, but this actually exists. Andrew Wilson's giving out real examples and pointing out things like orthodoxy, Amish community, Switzerland, all these other places. Like it's like Greg Adams is just moving the goalposts from goalpost to goalpost, just trying to figure out. He's arguing why it won't work when he's arguing for divorce the whole time instead of marriage. This is ridiculous. Doesn't make any sense.
Democratic socialists
No,
or somewhat.
not at all. They're
capitalist.
very conservative.
They're
very
conservative,
capitalist.
but yeah, they have that, but they're also
No, they're very capitalist.
okay.
Yeah.
So, but typically we're a lot more capitalist than them. Would you
I
say
don't
that?
know. I don't
We're
know
a
if
lot
that's
more
the case.
capitalist in
Like
Poland.
Eastern
All
Europe
right,
has
we're-
become very, very based. Eastern Europe
Okay.
has become
all right,
very
but we
based.
can probably say 200, 350 million people versus Poland size
It's much smaller, yes.
12 million.
But that's what
All right, this would
scalability
be,
is for.
I mean, this would be the size, not even half of California at this particular point,
But
that you're scaling to.
Yeah, scalability works that way because
It
it's
could.
scalable.
It could.
38 million in Poland.
38 million, quite more than I thought. That
Yeah.
would be the state of California and plus Oregon, maybe, or something like that.
Well, and California is bigger than a lot of countries.
More chat GPT in this debate, by the way. Just
It is.
wanna
That's
mention
the case.
Fifth largest
Yeah.
GDP.
Yeah.
So in this scenario, I'll give you that one. It's a little bit of a reach, but I'll give it to
Not
you.
just that. If we look at the Chinese model really fucked this up. They decided that they were going to do the one-child policy. Remember that?
And they
Not only did they screw it up, but they have almost given themselves imminent doom because their birth rate has dropped down so low. Now, what are they doing? They're giving incentives for women to have children.
Exactly.
Now we do it here too, to a
We
limited
do that
degree
here.
with tax credits, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the tax credits, you're not going to incentivize a woman who can sell her pussy on OnlyFans
Exactly,
to have
way
a child
much.
to have a
Yeah.
child for $3,000 a year.
And sometimes they even go on EBT and WIC, and they still use the system. So you're still finding ways where people will manipulate the system. And
He's just trying to find some. He's weaseling himself out of a solution. It's like when he could find a solution, he's looking for like just the Chicken Little solution. The sky is falling forever with Coach Greg Adams, and that's it. It's like, nah, but this, nah, but that. And it's like, it's such the feminism is strong with this guy. If there's an out, he'll find it. It doesn't matter. If there's a solution, he'll avoid it. That's all he was arguing for, the avoidance of solutions, this whole debate. And he's just basically just defending divorce. That's it. And he won't defend marriage at all because he's just putting this, he's making an argument for divorce, not marriage the whole time. That's it. That's all he's done in this entire debate.
seeing people that are massive manipulation,
that, right?
We would try to get rid of it. It would be a nice try. I'll give you that one. That might be a ball.
No, it's possible, and more than possible, and it's better than the idea of just continual degeneracy.
Well, I'm not promoting degeneracy. However,
Sex outside of marriage?
well, who is that degenerate to? I mean,
What? This is crazy. Yeah, I'm not promoting degeneracy, sex outside of marriage. Well, who's that degenerate to? What?
that's your
Right.
Bible.
So
I mean,
Not even your Bible that does promote degeneracy, because if Keisha has 7 baby daddies, you don't think that's degenerate? Huh, Lord have mercy. This is crazy.
most of your Christians, your traditional. Hold on for a second. Let me. Most
Okay.
of your traditional Christian women that are getting married to these simps are blindsided, typically by women that were promiscuous.
Sounds
right?
like
so
sex
that
out of
sounds like
marriage is
normal.
good.
So
Sounds like sex out of marriage is bad.
it sounds like it's really bad. But
Yeah.
those are your
Yeah, degenerate, meaning really bad. This is crazy.
women you're trying to marry, not the virgins that we're going to
You
have.
think
or
that
the
this is
overwhelming-
mitigated by you being a secularist versus a Christian? Give me a break.
I mean, you're not
If
going to
you're-
mitigate women throwing their pussy around the internet.
Yeah.
Or,
He just talked about this. Christianity does mitigate this, and he's saying, no, you're not going to mitigate this because shame, communal sense of environment that we have with the church, the community as well too, that we also appropriate and also contribute as far as the support system that we also have. We have stigma that's being put on bad activities and behaviors. We also have spiritual fathers that we could report to, things like this, tradition. Like, I could go on. This is ridiculous. And he's saying this doesn't work or happen. Like, it sounds like his idea is fictional and doesn't even happen at all compared to what we have, which is tangible and real. He's just running, and this is just escapism when it comes to Black community and Black culture. This is an example of this, and this is why it doesn't work, Greg Adams.
you can hardly mitigate that. I mean,
know.
you haven't done anything at this particular point. They're busting it wide open on OnlyFans.
Yeah.
What? According to who? Not our side. On your side, that's it. This is the dumbest I've ever heard in my life. This is crazy.
Yeah, we can put
right,
outlaw
these are the church
OnlyFans.
women.
He can outlaw OnlyFans.
I mean, every one of your scenarios is a big, major swing at. They're not happening. All right, it's not happening.
Do you know that the
they're
people
not
versus
outlawing
Larry,
anything.
the people versus Larry Flint was not long ago when
Mhm.
the normalization of the porn used to be outlawed. Okay, it
But
used to be
people still went-
outlawed all over the United States, and guess what? The effects that it had on the psychology of men and the effects it had on marriage were negligible. You could still get it to some degree underground,
Right.
but it was tough and it was illegal. Why do you think?
And people still went to the.
Why do you
they
think
went
it
to
is?
that they? I don't know if you remember
Yeah.
this. If you're old enough, they
Go
still
ahead.
went to that VHS area or the area of the magazine.
That was
where
after
they drew
Larry
the
Flint.
All right, but that was a result. That was kind of one
That
of the
was
things that
after
they
they
said.
legalized it. Before
Exactly.
they legalized it, those sections didn't exist.
Exactly. So now it's wide and open. It's in the open.
Yeah,
So,
so
now
So what? Christianity mitigates all this. This is insane. Anyways, I'm just gonna. Maybe you guys can watch the debate later on, but I'm just gonna get to the part where this went totally off the rails and got stupid. Now let's begin.
People
What number
in the state
What's the number
of
people
what?
that participate?
Of what? Which thing?
I keep asking you this. You never give me the
I've
number.
already
I
told you
told
50
you.
times. There's no polling data.
Exactly. You don't have a number.
But I do have numbers.
It's a pie in the
of
sky. It's a
people-
fantasy. You've
Dude,
been selling people a fantasy.
do you
So he's-
realize that?
I love it.
He's saying it's a fantasy because he doesn't have numbers of polling data. Like, to me, this doesn't even make sense. Greg Adams wants numbers, which change from goalpost to goalpost. When I brought this up, chat, it was 9% divorce rate in the Orthodox Church, and then they bring it up. It's like 17%. Cool story, bro, but this changes when you come. It depends on which data you're getting from. You can look at ChatGPT, you can look at Grok, Google, anything else. This is why I think that bringing up some of this, the stats and stuff, is bad in debates. What Andrew Wilson has is a logical entailment, a logical argument that he can actually refer to, and he's actually using examples. The Amish community is undefeated when it comes to this in an argument. Greg Adams, do you have anything that's refutation to this? No, you don't. Do you have anything that's refutation towards the Orthodox community or Catholic community? No, you don't. This guy has no arguments at all. It's stupid. It's stifling his logic.
So,
you make my point stronger, not worse.
A fantasy?
If it's the case that people are engaged in state marriage right this second and are part of traditional churches and their divorce rate is lower, it has to logically follow that if they were not engaged in state marriage, the divorce rate would be even lower.
You're talking about getting hit over the head 30% to 50%. Okay.
30% to 50%. Where did he get the 30%? It didn't say 30% by his metrics or his percent when he came up with orthodoxy. It was 17%, not 30. Now Greg's just pulling shit out of his ass and making this up out of thin air. 30% was never mentioned when it came to orthodoxy. And matter of fact, the Amish community, I bet, is even lower. And 6% when you talked about Hindus, 6%. Where does this guy even live? What planet is he on?
Okay, that's great.
It's huge.
Give you that.
That's huge.
I'll give you that. That's the difference between 150,000 people. Yet you're telling me you have a better solution to
it's
mitigate
more than
that.
150,000.
Hold on. You're giving me a mitigating better than that 30%.
That's a humble way.
Not 30%. Once again, Hindus at 6%, Orthodoxy at 9% by my metrics, if you use my stats, but his 17%. 17 is different from 30%. You idiot.
That's
more
what
than
you're saying.
150,000, dude.
Where's that solution for the better than the 30%? I've been asking for it. You can't tell me how many people that you got under these notorious contracts that don't
I can
have
logically demonstrate it for you. There's no polling
need you to
data
get
for
that
it. So
number.
what?
So he can demonstrate it without the poll. He doesn't even need the polling data to show you why it works. You never refuted that the Amish community has a lower rate. You never refuted that Orthodoxy or Catholicism has a lower rate. Christianity reigns supreme. And you can't disprove this at all, Greg Adams, you idiot.
Get that number. That would be a great
When I
so
asked
you can tell the audience. Hold on
Yes.
for a second.
I'll
You
tell
can
them.
tell the audience
Okay.
how many people that you're going to prevent from busting out this ecclesiastic contract with your little house on the
It's not a
prairie, you preach,
contract.
whatever it is that you're doing. If you could tell your men how many people you have doing it and you prevented them from getting divorced and losing their kids under custody, please tell us.
This is unfalsifiable because if he's talking about people who he's converted, like let's just say that Andrew Wilson converted people. How can he prove this? This is the same logic. It doesn't make any sense. I don't understand why Greg Adams is an amateur when it comes to debate. This is actually the first time I've ever seen him do any kind of debate. He doesn't know how to do this. He doesn't know how to conduct himself in debate. This guy does not provide anything optimal, and he's not even competent when it comes to debate at all. I'm just going to repeat that.
Yeah, so
Otherwise, it's a fantasy.
let's respond again. Do you have the polling data for how many of the black men you've personally helped?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's see it.
Hundreds of thousands
Let's
right now.
see it.
Hundreds
Let's see
of
the polling
thousands.
data.
Hey, everybody
Yeah, I'm dying to see this as well too.
in the chat.
Where's the polling
Press
data?
one. We're gonna do it right now live.
That's
We're gonna do it live.
scientific
Everybody
poll.
press one.
That's
That doesn't make any sense because I can put one in the chat and just make this up just because I'm a follower and no changes happen as far as my marital rates or anything like this. This one could apply to anything else. Greg Adams could have helped you to brush your teeth better. Does that apply to this discussion? And you're going to put one in the chat because he's helped me with my teeth better. Helping you out is a very broad statement. He could have just helped you out to wipe your butt or pick your shoes out with his fashion channel, whatever this is. This is the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. Like him using polling data, just chat. Idiot.
polling
if you're
data?
a Coach Greg Adams,
That's polling data.
If you follow me for the last
You don't
8
have
years,
hundreds of thousands of
press
people in your
one.
chat, dude. Give me a break.
Press one if you can see it. Look. You
Pull
see
up
that?
the chat.
Yeah. Where's your
You don't want to
polling
look.
data?
You don't want to look. Look at this.
Where's the polling data?
Coach Gang represent.
Do you have
You see it
scientific
right here?
polling data?
That's
Okay, let's get back to this. Since we're talking about polling data, let's be for real. Chat, let's go check this out real quick. Oh, hold on. Polling data. Oh, my comment at the top. Coach has 0 prescriptions or solutions. I see now why CGA doesn't like the debate people. Also, the moderator was lazy in this debate. He could have stepped in multiple times, and the debate should have been structured better. So this Andrew guy believes in virgins like 1778 while there were really no virgins past 10th grade. Crazy comment. Hope this is not a Hope is not a strategy. Whatever. Moderator could have did a way better job. I can't believe Andrew essentially said virgins find better and enforce sex from the pulpit as mitigation. This guy's so freaking lost. Yeah, of course you're going to have people in this. So this is the thing, though. How embarrassing this was for Greg. Low tier argumentation. I like Coach Greg a lot, but I think going after Andrew for smoking cigs, saying his wife was run through, saying Andrew is slow and he is in Neanderthal, these comments don't move the debate along, nor did add anything of value. It made him lose credibility in the debate. This sounds like one of his people actually too. So to me, this other comment, to be fair, he's right. Secular marriage doesn't work. Right? Andrew had more solutions to offer than the coach. I can't even believe the coach said some of the things he did. This is his chat. What are people talking about? CGA could have did a much better job, but Andrew's argument of religious force is garbage. CGA has seen more and experienced more, spoken to thousands of men regarding the perils of marriage. Show me a handful of fearful religious married people, and I'll show you millions of devastated people due to divorce. Yeah, this is nonsensical. I've been through divorce. I guarantee you this is not a Christian person in orthodoxy. Greg Adams literally throwing insults. If this is winning the debate, ye old man take the L. Yeah, his chat is overrun by people who disagree with him. And actually more over in Andrew's arena. This is crazy.
More than your ecclesiastic contracts. I can guarantee you that.
Okay. Everyone in the Crucible chat who Andrew Wilson has helped, put one in the chat. That's scientific polling data, says Coach whoever.
I know you don't want to hear it.
Like we've literally seen Coach Greg Adams' chat is a big L. I guarantee if we go to Andrew's chat, big W. Makes no sense at all.
You was gonna let it happen. Now all of a sudden you don't like the numbers. Come on, Andrew, man.
That's not polling data.
I thought we were better.
That's
than
not
this.
polling data, doofus.
Okay,
what are you talking about?
You gonna call
that's
me
not
a doofus?
polling data.
Were you gonna call me a doofus?
Yes, that's doofus shit.
Yo, man, that's crazy because I asked you for a number, and I'm the doofus. You can't even give me a number.
I gave you
your
hard
data. Oh, wait, where's your army at? What's the name of your group?
Up.
What's the name of your group?
The Crucible chat.
The Crucible Army. Go ahead and pull them up and tell them how many of them are under your ecclesiastic contract.
And let's make sure we got this straight. How many people are in his live chat right now?
He's got 2,060.
And see how many people are in mine.
Let's go. Pull it up. They should beat me in your ecclesiastic contract.
It was 4,600 when I saw this. 4,600. Like beating Greg Adams.
They should floor us in the ecclesiastic contract.
Oh.
4.3K, and guess who that is? That's Jake Rattlesnake reading that off in the background. Yes, Jake Rattlesnake is in Vegas with Andrew Wilson during this time. Of course, based person reading this off.
4,300.
That's like not even double.
Just one.
All right, we're both doing well.
Just one, please. Just one, please.
And
now that means I win.
Where they at?
That's scientific polling data.
There's crickets over there. Okay.
Just ones. Just
there they
one.
go.
All I got to do is
There's
ones,
the
and that's
Crucible over there.
scientific data.
There's a couple of twos in there.
Crucible, all these freaking ones. 4,819 watching, and that's just on the YouTube side. Believe it or not, there's a Rumble side, which had a shit ton of people watching as well, too. This guy, Coach Greg Adams, is an idiot. If he wants to go bar for bar, compare the metrics, the Crucible is stomping the shit out of this guy. Crazy. Yeah, you don't want to take it there, man.
I want the ecclesiastic contract marriages.
Oh, no.
That's what we're asking
you
for.
said, who have I helped?
Oh, wait a minute.
That's different.
No, you ask who, for me,
yeah,
who's followed my prescription.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's not polling data, dude.
I ask you for the ecclesiastic contracts, Andrew. This is very simple.
What part of we don't have the polling data, but I can logically demonstrate it? Do you not understand?
You're selling a fantasy.
We do have the numbers.
You're selling a fantasy.
Oh my God, dude,
you're selling a fantasy to men. And I think what you need to do is
talking to a fucking wall.
And I hope that all those cancer sticks that you've been smoking will help your ass live long enough to see.
Oh, this is crazy. This is where the ad homs come. He talks about Rachel Wilson, this fucking asshole. What a complete dumbass. This guy not only has no arguments, but then when he runs out of his so-called bullets that he accused Andrew Wilson of running out of, he starts throwing ad homs because he has nothing left in the tank. This is how you know, like, black fatigue is real. I'm so fatigued right now. Actually, I'm starving too as well too. I got to go eat. So I'm going to wrap this up pretty soon. But anyways, so fatigued and exhausted from Coach Greg Adams' non-argument ass. So stupid.
how far you led men astray. I would love that for you to survive, and I would bless you by the name of God in the Jesus Christ and Latter-day Saints that you survive.
We don't talk about Latter-day Saints and Christianity in the same sentence. This guy's such an idiot, moron.
All them goddamn smokes
You
you've
don't
been
follow
out
the
here.
Jesus Christ of Latter-day
All them
Saints.
smokes you have, so you can come out here and live and see how many men
Jesus
you led
Christ of
astray.
Latter-day Saints. You follow Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Somebody does.
You
More
don't.
people than that.
Give me a
More
break.
people than the Crucible.
The
More people
LDS.
that
You
more-
are not
hey,
in the
the
LDS
more-
church,
hey,
dude.
More people,
Oh my
more
God.
people than you have under your ecclesiastic contract. I can guarantee you that. All right.
All you have to do is agree to one proposition. Is it the case that you personally think
Not
that
today.
if there is no state contract, you're not win a
Easily.
state contract, your chances of getting divorced are going to decrease?
Correct.
Is that true or false?
If that's true, even if you don't get married.
And then he complains about Andrew using ifs, and he says, if that's true, and utters just the same amount of ifs.
Correct. Your chances of getting divorced goes to 0.
Oh.
And that's the same thing I said. Don't get married, you don't get divorced. The number one cause of divorce is marriage.
No, that's the dumbest thing of all. Like, the number one cause of death is living. Like, how does that sound? Sound bright to you? Like, that's so fucking stupid. This guy's an idiot. That's his logic.
Not
Boy,
marriage,
it sounds like
a state contract.
no, the number one cause of divorce is marriage. Hey, and
The number one cause of death is living. Life. Life is the number one cause of death. Sound really stupid when I say it like that, right? What a fucking idiot.
Drew, let's just say this,
Lord.
man. Listen.
I thought they could divorce you even if you weren't married to him 5 minutes ago.
No, you went through a ceremony. You went through a religious ceremony. So at that point, they can. But if I never went through a ceremony, they can.
They can sue you for anything by your logic, whether you
No,
went
no,
through
no,
it or
no, no.
not.
Don't move the goal
Right. They can sue you for spilling hot coffee on them and then saying, I don't want to be married to you right now. Well, guess what? That's not going to be a divorce.
post. I said you went through a ceremony.
Ah.
I didn't. All right. Those are two different things, sir.
Which part of I don't really again I don't understand if it's the case that you
He's
say
scrambling.
My head hurt the first time sitting through this. It's like, I can understand if any of you guys want to evacuate the chat. I totally get this. I don't blame you because I'm about to have a migraine through this exhaustion that Coach Greg L is putting me through right now.
Scraping for shit right
yeah,
now.
if it's the case that you say
He's
if
scrambling
you're
and
married-
scraping for shit right now.
If
Look
you're
at
married
him.
by the state,
Look at him scrambling.
yeah,
scraping.
if you're married by the state, if you're married by the state, your chances of marriage.
Oh, by the way, I have become monetized. You can go ahead and sign up for a membership right now. I'm going to be holding a membership raffle pretty soon. This guy's an idiot. I don't understand this at all. Angel says, Berber says, I'm keeping my last membership slot I have open to join your channel when you become monetized or open for memberships. If you can look down, there is a super chat button and also a membership available as well too. I'm going to have some custom emojis that are pretty badass exactly for my channel that are going to be based some of them are going to be orthodox emojis too, some W's, other things like that. It's going to be pretty cool. So yeah, if you want to become the first member of my channel, that would be awesome. I would definitely be honored. But moving on back to this.
Or divorce
But if you don't get
increase.
married, your
Mhm.
chances of divorce is 0.
Yeah, okay. Wait a second. I'm sorry.
Your chances of if you don't
Except-
get married,
unless you're
your chances
cohabitating,
of
right?
divorce is
Unless you're
0.
cohabitating.
Depends on where you live.
Yeah, so then it's not
That's common
zero.
law, not
so
in
you just
California.
lied. It's not
Not in
zero.
California.
So then it's not zero.
What about if you don't cohabitate?
Yeah, again. So
Again.
now you're moving the goalposts.
No, most of the time. If you read my book, and I bet you can't read. Did you write a book? I'm pretty sure you didn't.
No.
Nobody wants to read your toilet paper pages. This is crazy, Mr. Doodoo.
I wrote a book.
My
that
wife wrote a
basically
book,
gave-
and I take all her money though.
Good. Well, that tells me what type of man you are. Holy mackerel! You're pimping your wife out now. What's
To
next?
write- to write
what's
books
next?
that I
What's
profit
next?
from?
If those, how many books that she sold? Now let me get
I'm
back to
pimping-
this.
I'm pimping
Hold
her
on for
out
a
'cause she
second.
wrote a
Hold on for a
book?
second.
What the
My
So this guy's an idiot. What a complete moron. This is insane.
My
What?
prescription for men
Is-
is
my
no. Hold on for a
prescription
second. No,
for
no, no,
wife
no.
Not to write a book.
Yeah, well, I guess YouTube's going well if you're living off your wife's books. All right, what's her name?
It's funny because he talks about black culture, like he represents black culture, and then the thing he wants to result to is like talking about pimps and stuff like this. Of course, how indicative of black culture right now to be talking about pimps and hoes and ran through. That's all the red pill represents right now. Remember, on the Christ pill side where Andrew's in, he doesn't talk about hoes, pimps, and all this other degenerate shit. He doesn't revert to that. He's talking about solutions, actually things that are amicably leading to things that are solution orientated, producing good outcomes, not utilitarianism, but Christian ethics that we really want for our society, not OFs that this guy brings up. Of course, he's probably subscribed to a few himself.
So we can give her some shine and sell some books.
Oh, her name is Rachel Wilson, the author of Occult Feminism. I guarantee it sold more copies than yours, sir.
All right, we can look it up.
Let's
It's
look it
over
up.
that now. We can look it up.
Now he wants to have a dick measuring contest. So stupid, asinine.
Let's look it
Now
up
watch
right
this.
now.
Watch this. All right, go ahead.
I want to look it up right now. Now I just want to know.
Now at this point, what have you done? You're living off the backs of your wife? Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Is this traditional marriage?
Yes, absolutely.
Boy,
Yeah, good night, Wilkmoto. Yeah, I appreciate you tuning in. I'm burnt out too. I'm gonna wrap this up in about maybe 5 minutes because I'm tired of Coach Greg Adams and his bullshit. This is crazy.
boy, men have fallen. I'm gonna tell you that.
Absolutely.
Men have fallen. It's a disgrace. All right,
Man.
You're living off of what? Is this traditional marriage, by the way?
Yes.
Your wife is in the traditional marriage, and you're living off her finances. God damn. All right, boy. The crucible is falling apart at this particular point, bursting open at the seams.
You mean with a nuclear family, an intact family with a father and based stay-at-home mother who homeschools her children, the society we'd want to see for our family, parents, and progeny and generations forward, an intact family of a marriage, which Coach Greg Adams doesn't even have a fraction of. Yeah, that sounds like falling apart to me. Right.
You got
Gentlemen,
me.
What's your book called?
Free agent lifestyle.
You got me, man.
Yeah, I did got you.
Yeah, you're a free agent, free from nuclear family, free from structure, free from Christ, free from all that. Right. And then look where you're at right now, defending a losing position.
It's true. I take all of her money. It's true.
Well, that's what you said.
I mean, I do.
You said that.
I do.
I mean, I'm not saying something you didn't
all
say.
of it. And I spend it on guns. Every
Traditional
dime.
marriage sounds great, guys. Traditional
How
marriage
does
sounds
that
great.
sound bad? Who would be upset by that? I take all of my wife's money and spend it on guns. He says traditional marriage sounds great,
That's
guys.
traditional marriage. That falls under traditional marriage.
Sure.
Oh boy.
What's untraditional
All
about
right,
it?
That's a great traditional marriage.
It
model.
sounds like great
All right.
traditional marriage to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can't find the numbers, honestly.
Oh,
well,
that's too bad.
This all happens. Shit happens. But it's a bestseller. Trust me. You should read it.
So's hers.
Yeah.
It's just sold
But
more.
what have you
It's
done?
just sold more.
But what have you done?
I take her money.
Zero. Exactly, boy. I mean, you hear this?
Yeah.
This is the traditional patriarchy, masculinity here, in live and in living color. But you can follow him. You can follow me.
I mean, your book is ranked higher on the charts and it has more ratings.
Oops.
Can't find the sales numbers on either.
The sales numbers are what matters.
Oh. Oh.
Let's see the numbers.
Oh.
Numbers?
Uh-oh.
Numbers?
Uh-oh.
Numbers?
Oops.
Numbers?
I'm higher ranked. More
So,
people have.
let's see
Ooh,
the numbers.
ooh. Come on, man. I don't know. I don't keep the data. I don't know what
You
happened.
don't know how many books you've sold?
Millions.
Sold millions of books. Give me a fucking break with this shit.
How many books you sold?
You haven't
Zero.
sold millions
You
of
sold
books.
zero
You're
goddamn
just
books.
lying and coping, dude.
You listen. I'm higher ranked.
Yeah, you sold
people-
millions of
Hey, but
books.
look at the numbers. The numbers don't lie, Mr. Numbers guy. I got
Okay,
higher
where's
ranked.
the numbers?
Higher ranked. More people
I want to
have
know how many.
I actually went to go try to look up the numbers and I couldn't find this. Although there's a huge, massive page of like images of her book, covers, all this other stuff of people featuring her book, all this. And then here's the other point I'll make real quick before I move on to this again, because I did honestly try to look for numbers myself and it's tough and hard to find. I'm pretty sure that Grok or ChatGPT can find this out. Christ only had 12 people following him, right? 12 people following him from village to village, things like this. We're not talking about followers. Like that doesn't really mean that your presence or your movement's really worth a shit when it comes to things. And it's like, yeah, Satan has hundreds of thousands of people following him right now. How's that going for you right now? This doesn't make any. This is not even a good argument.
Look at
sold.
more people have rated the book.
Yeah, and
Free
get-
agent
you
lifestyle
can-
for life.
And guess what? You can definitely brigade
For
your own Amazon
life.
shit.
You challenge me.
Show me
You're
the
one
numbers.
challenging me,
Where's
sir.
the numbers?
You sold 0 goddamn
Numbers
books.
are.
Man, what?
Yeah, that's right. I guarantee you, Coach Greg Adams does not have as many super chats as he does. Matter of fact, I think you might actually be wrong about this, Angel. Coach Greg Adams doesn't know what Andrew's top 10 super chat maker in the U.S. while running a patriarchal home to the fullest. CGA wishes he can have that. I thought you said like 10 or something like that. Yeah, he's definitely top 10. So you're right about that. Let me change that. I was wrong in my assertion, so I'll hold the L on this. L's in the chat for me because I think that Andrew is like 1 or 2 in the U.S. I think number 1 probably, if not number 2, when it comes to super chat money and things like this. Greg Adams isn't even close to this remotely. He's foolish if he thinks he is.
You saw the numbers.
No,
He
I
pulled
didn't.
the numbers.
I asked you for the sales numbers. How
He
many of you
pulled the
sold?
numbers. Free agent lifestyle for life. Hey, everybody go out by the free agent lifestyle.
Yeah, free
Hold
agent never he doesn't
No,
know how
no,
many
no.
you sold.
Yeah, free agent, free from marriage, free from family, free from traditional, free from Christ, all that, right?
I'm higher ranked, man.
So
You
what?
seen it. I got more people. Look,
That doesn't
hey,
mean
stop.
shit.
So Satan's higher rank when it comes to music, when it comes to entertainment, and debauchery, degeneracy. Satan's higher ranked and all that stuff. Yeah, what's your point though?
Shawn Michael, hey, you see that? I'm higher ranked.
Uh-huh.
I'd imagine with the ranking algorithm, sales does play a factor.
Come on.
Yeah, the only time the mod actually wants to contribute to the chat or any of this discussion is during this time. This guy that's not even modding. My mods do 10,000 times better than this mod. This is insane.
We already know that, but it is what it is.
What are
But
the
I don't
numbers?
I don't know my numbers. My probably
No knock against my mods. They're holding the fort down pretty good, but I'm just saying that this guy doesn't even hold even a sliver of a candle. Like this guy's a ghost compared to my mods.
better
No.
than hers, but I know it's better than yours.
That's true.
Right?
I've never
You
written
got
a book.
0.
I just take the.
I mean, you
I
just
just
come-
take the author's
You come
money.
up with obvious solutions to scenarios that
And you have
anybody
none.
can
You just want
anybody can come up
feminism.
with. I don't have a solution. Free agent lifestyle is a solution.
That's not a solution to
It's
anything.
not. It sure
It's
is.
just
It's a
degeneracy.
solution that you don't like.
It's just go
It's
fuck
just
chicks.
no, that's what you think. All right,
Uh-huh.
it's a solution that you didn't.
How's it
even
going to
read the book.
help? How's it going to
How
help
did
with
you do-
abortion? How's it going to help with anything?
Well, that's what de-evolution is for. Read my book,
De-evolution?
de-evolution. Go ahead and pull that up. All right. I
How
have a
does
second
de-
book.
De-evolution, that just sounds insane. They said the A word, so I'm gonna fast forward a little bit.
She's a traditional
Just
conservative.
like you know,
I
your
know she
numbers
got
are
ran.
higher.
I know she got ran through more times in the
Gotcha.
Holland Tunnel.
So that's it. It's just now.
And he's talking about Rachel Wilson right now. The ad homs are just insane right now. We've got, what is this? Less than 2 minutes left on this video on Coach Greg Adams' channel. And I'm just going to wrap this up. I'm so tired of Greg Adams and his logic right now. I'm so fatigued right now and exhausted from this right now. And it's not just black culture. It's him too representing black culture. It's bad.
Now we just
about
had
my wife.
homonyms. Is that what we want to do?
That's where you went.
No, you
Did I
brought
say
her
a
up.
word
I didn't bring
about
up your wife.
Did I say a
I didn't
word
bring up your
about
wife.
your wife?
I don't got one.
Yeah, if you did, do you think I would have?
You brought her up.
I brought my.
He's actually proving Andrew's claim even more because Andrew has a wife and Greg Adams doesn't have a wife. This is ridiculous. So by example, he's not even proving the example. This is crazy.
Did I attack her?
I didn't attack her.
You just said she had a high body count. You lying sack of shit. Show me the proof.
Yeah, you lying sack of shit.
We need proof.
Yeah,
I'm-
you're
she's
just
a
making shit up.
Traditional conservative.
You
women
lost
ha-
the
hey,
debate,
listen,
so you went.
I didn't
ad
lose the
hom.
debate.
I don't even
You've been
care
losing
at
the
this
debate for a
point.
long time.
Your wife has a high body count.
I bet you she does. That's the number.
What's the proof?
Traditional conservative
None,
women
yeah,
have
none.
higher body
She's not a
counts than men.
She's not a tradcon, dude. You don't even know what you're talking about.
How's she not a tradcon and you married her?
I'm not
She
a
feminist?
tradcon. You didn't
Well,
do
what
your
are you?
homework.
What are you?
I'm a Christian ethicist.
A Christian ethicist.
Yes.
All right. Very good. All right. And
Very
you
good.
still don't know the numbers, how many people follow you.
Follow what?
Who cares? Like that doesn't even matter to the debate. If you just had one person and it worked 100% of the time for this one person, Andrew wins the debate. He wins the argument. This is ridiculous because it proves the solution works. This guy's an idiot. Doesn't really make any sense. Followers doesn't really matter when it comes to the equation because we're talking about solutions. If it works and Andrew could prove one time that it's worked 100% of the time for somebody, he's won the argument. That's all he's needed to prove. And that's what the debate prompt is.
Follow your prescription, your master solution. No
I
numbers.
literally have
but you're
given
asking
you
me
number
about numbers
after
and we pulled the
number
numbers.
after number
Oh
of
my goodness.
the fact that the traditional
How many
churches'
men-
divorces are lower.
We got that.
Correct.
But how many men follow your
We don't know the
prescription?
polling
We
data.
don't know.
We don't need to.
But-
we know that even if they're with the state, it's still lower.
Coach Gang, one in the chat.
Coach Gang, one in the chat. I have no argument, so I'm just going to revert to this and be circular.
All right, Coach Gang, one in the chat. You bought the free agent lifestyle, and it helped you. Put a one in the chat.
That's it. That's not even an argument. Idiot. This is crazy.
All right. It's been 2 hours. You guys want to call it?
Yep.
All right, guys. Check them out. That was a fun debate. We'll let ChatGPT decide who won this thing.
No, that was tiresome. And all I did was end up with more fatigue and exhaustion because of Coach Greg Adams. I feel sorry that Andrew Wilson had to actually endure this. It's just ridiculous. I don't understand why. I don't understand how Andrew could have just bore this debate and had to actually his Coach Greg Adams logic is stifling, mind-numbing nonsense the whole time. And I can't believe that I had to put you guys through this torture. Well, guess what? I endured it too with you guys. I just wanted to have something, a small segment about why. I mean, I use me using Grok and then during a debate, which ended up in me being exhausted during this whole thing. And this is just ridiculous.
We'll throw in the transcript in there, link it in the video. See you guys next time. And all right.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
What a scumbag. What a complete obvious joke. What a complete joke. I don't understand this at all. Like, this guy's is such an idiot, man. Yes, I agree. Yes, it's hilarious, embarrassing that he thinks Andrew makes money from Rachel. Maybe Myron will fill him in on who he is dealing with. Red pillars with sense, no Andrew's influence. Yes, for sure. Good night, all. God bless. Be well from Relentless as well, too. Reading the last, he's absolute scumbag. Yes, he's an effing joke. Anyways, I'm exhausted. That is all. And I'm going to wrap this up. I can't sit through any more of this. I'm exhausted and fatigued. I'll give you guys a break with the next stream. I'm not going to give you so much fatigue. I know you guys just expected me to come out with, I used Grok during a debate as a prompt. That's it, which was only like 5 minutes. Yeah, this is just ridiculous. Anyways, I'm signing off. Hopefully you guys have a good evening. God bless. Christ is King, and be well, everybody out there in On the Edge Land.